nice when Heroic has ways to play multiple engagements across the map, and they're not locked into this one team fight must go well. If that's the logic, Falcons will exploit that very, very easily. So I think the natural drafting of Heroic at the moment is pretty good against Falcons. It's less about drafting, more about play between these two teams.
Yeah, I also think that I agree with what Quinn said about the aggression, but I also think what Yuma, we asked him this question yesterday about heroes and certain things, and he said that it's kind of dependent on how the game goes. Like, if the game is not meant to be played aggressively, we'll just take it easy and farm and do something differently. And that's what we saw yesterday in the game 2 against Aurora, right? So I think they're not just this aggressive, all-in SA team anymore. They're an actual contender, and I think another point about this team is that they really want this right now. I think you can feel it when they're standing there huddled up. They really want to win this tournament. They really want to beat Falcons, especially, I think. So, yeah, I don't know. I think they got to play well, but I think it's maybe one of the tougher games Falcons has had to play in a while.
Yeah, there's definitely that hunger and that fire burning inside Heroic right now. Falcons having a bit of a break since the last time we saw them. Who knows exactly where they're going to be when they do come out on stage, but it brings me great joy to tell you that we are one step closer to welcoming our teams on stage.
Hello everybody, yes, we're here at the lion statue with Mike, and now
it's a bit of a mix between a lion and a fish. There are cultural significances to that. We are going to get Amar to try and design a Dota 2 hero based off the Malayan.
look at that majestic beast. What position are we doing?
Carry.
Carry beast. Intelligence, strength,
Agility.
agility?
Over universal.
Universal.
Very smart, it is two different creatures. All right, you got any spell ideas here?
First spell is gonna be like Dragon Knight Breathe Fire,
Oh, but
Okay.
shoot water.
but it shoots water the whole time. It's a toggleable spell.
Okay. Fun fact, Singapore, do you know the real name of it?
No?
Singapura.
Which means
Lion City.
Lion City.
So second spell should be a field of lions.
A field of 10 billion lions.
So a passive now?
It's gonna be called the Mythical Beast. The longer he stands still, the more damage reduction he has, and the more damage he deals.
Okay. I think you are literally just describing a tower, but that is okay. What is the ultimate of the tower hero?
So it's BKB, Pierce, Leash, debuff immune leash. If you lose 50% of your HP in that field, you instantly die.
How does someone beat the Merlion?
So you pick Doom and Doom.
Well, thank you, sir. Absolutely incredible job. Hello, Singapore. Are you ready for your next series? Absolutely. I'm here with Misery, the god himself. And the Misery, I just got one question for you here, buddy. Do the Falcones got the cojones to go to another grand finals, in your opinion?
I think they do.
Okay, he thinks he does. Absolutely. Now, what's up with this team? I thought teams were supposed to suck after they win TI. Isn't that what they do? They get, like, full of themselves. They get lazy. They get more, fat. They sit around. But this team doesn't seem to have that. What happened?
I don't know. I think, like Quinn said on the panel, I think it's just hard work, dedication. You know, they have learned from previous sort of mistakes from other teams where other teams have gotten fat and lazy, like you're saying.
Yeah.
They know that this is a mistake. We should keep going. Yeah, I think they're just smart and dedicated to the game.
You don't think it's like Owie 2000 abuse? Like he's not letting them relax or having enjoyable lives? I mean, have you met that guy before? Is he cool? Is he
I
evil?
have.
Okay, cool.
I think it's, yeah, maybe it's just AUI, honestly.
All right, well, we'll find out. But anyway, Falcons preferred favorites, maybe not the underdogs, but have done incredibly well. We'll see what's going on with Heroic. Maybe Sheever and her friend have some ideas. I wonder who could be over there. Who do you think?
I'm not sure.
I have no idea.
Maybe T.
It is T's right here. Thank you very much, Slacks and Misery. Now, there is one thing, T, that Heroic has.
Yeah.
Falcons does not have in Singapore.
Yeah.
Momentum.
Momentum. That's it. That's exactly what they need. South
Yes.
America, first time they might be able to get into a Tier 1 Grand Finals. None of these little bunny ears divide, all right, boss man. You've won Tier 2 events, but this time you can win a Tier 1. You're just going to overcome Falcons, you know. Previous DI winners, boring. Previous Tier 2 winners, event winner, that's Tier 1, sorry. Boring. But this time, don't let South America down. Beat out the Falcons and get yourself to a Grand Finals. It's easy.
Just win one series. Two games yesterday. They did it in 2 games.
Yeah, just do it again. The whole series. Oh, okay, hold up.
Slacks?
So what are we waiting for?
We're waiting for Sheever and the analyst to stop talking. Give me a second.
Okay, I want to go.
I know you want to go, but you have to wait for them to stop talking to it. Calm down. You'll go soon.
Bro, I'm jet lag. I cannot take this.
Okay, hey, Sheever, he's going. Okay, they're coming. Here they go.
Stability versus volatility. Will the unbeatable Falcons soar to victory once again? Or will the ambitious roster of Heroic sneak the upset? It's Falcons versus Heroic.
Our teams are now on the stage, sitting down and getting ready for this best of 3. The one that will get them to the grand finals if they win it, and on the other side, an unfortunate elimination for the team that's not going to be able to get it done here. But Heroic having that momentum, you talked about it, T, that's something that is going to be so important here.
No, yeah, and again, like for South America in general, right, the idea of getting to another grand finals, right, it's just like exciting times for the region, right, and it's like any time a team does well, it then inspires the next team that's inside the region, like the second place team, the third place team to step up, and I think the fact that we are talking about a team that's, you know, reliably getting to the final couple days of tournaments, putting on a show, it is just exciting for the future of South America Dota, and that aside for Heroic to get themselves into a grand finals here in front of crowd, it's everything that you would want for Dota is possible, but Falcons, they are so damn good. It's going to be so hard to try and beat them.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about you know, SA and the history of SA and getting that win, and I think it would be massive. And I think especially for Schofield, someone that we don't talk about that much. A lot of times you talk about Whisper and you talk about Yuma because they're sort of, you know, standout players that pop a lot. But I think Schofield has been grinding in the region for a long time. He's played a lot of different roles. He started out as carry. He played mid at one point, and then he switched to support, and has been grinding and playing on different teams for a long time. And I think is one of the best SA players of all time. And I think it's really great to see him go from being someone who's, you know, sort of goober maxing to actually being like a tier 1 4 player. I think he's incredibly good and has a very strange style where he annoys you almost more than he kills you in sometimes. But I think it's awesome to see him, you know, like grow into such a great player.
Yeah, I completely agree. I also think he's been mostly known for some of his melee +4 heroes like Tusk and Clockwork and things like that. But recently we've seen him take more the traditional +4 role, like a Skywrath Mage, like a Snapfire, things like that. And I think that also shows that he's able to adapt to the team and to what's needed in the draft, more so than, you know, always having to be playing the same hero. So I completely agree. I think this guy has been, you know, growing on me, especially for the last several years.
And I'm pretty sure Falcons have done their replay review, right? Killing Schofield often isn't the best chance or recipe for starting a fight, right? I do feel like Schofield's like one of the best fours at like kind of baiting them into. You know, we saw how we praised the Scarif Mage with the Ghost Scepters, right? Even when he's playing Clockwork and Quinn is, you know, remembering these like 7 cog hits, whatever. It's like you jump Schofield, you're probably not going to win the fight in a clean way. Some mess is going to happen. So I'm pretty sure Falcons identified the fact that Schofield's positioning is often a little bit of a bait.
You're also bringing up that Skywrath there, Misery, and it's like, yeah, Heroic played it yesterday, got that win with it, but on the other side, Falcons have been playing it for quite a while as well. So is it an overlapping pool for all roles, or do you feel that in that support role, there's a lot more overlap than, say, a carry?
I think it's definitely a contested hero in the series. I'm not sure if it's going to be prioritized super highly. I mean, somewhere maybe in the first 3 picks, it's not too much. It feels good. It has a good build now with the Kaya, and like it's scaling pretty well. I think it's interesting to see how good this hero is, you know, in the next few weeks.
Next few weeks? Well, you don't even have to wait that long. In fact, just the next few seconds, as we do have a draft ready for our best of 3 game 1.
Before we play this match, I would like to inform you and give you a hint of the future, that you don't need to play these games and waste our time. We can just all go back to hotel and chill, eat some food. We all know you're finished from this tournament. Top 4 is not a bad result, trust me.
Hello, Falcons. I hope Yuma didn't traumatize you guys too much, because today you're gonna have to face him again, so good luck.
We're about to play Heroic, and I look forward to it. We're going to be trying to win for Parker.
Well, Falcons maybe won TI, but, you know, they're a very boring team to watch. You know, they have no aura. You know, all our games are very interesting. Everybody loves us, so, you know, we have the arena on our side, and I think that's going to help us. Nobody wants to see Falcons win.
Falcons versus Heroic, and again, Falcons, they're not just playing for another grand finals, they're playing for Parker, they're playing for so much more. The stakes that Crit has set for this series, can he live up to the words that he just gave?
Yeah, that's a crazy thing to decide to play for, but you know, to each your own. Yeah. If that's what gets him out of bed in the morning, then hey, fair enough. Bob's your uncle. I like the Enigma band, starting Enigma Huskar. You can see the respect for each other's signature heroes. I think while they do have some overlap, not mentioned the Skywrath Mage, there's also a lot of heroes that one team plays, the other team does not play. Enigma, Falcons will never play in any context ever. So banning that hero out. Also Marcy, a hero that Falcons just does not play. Doesn't fit their style very well. So I think you can see that from both sides, Heroic ban and Naga Siren. A lot of respect from both sides.
Yeah, and of course Falcons ban out the Timber Source. So in regards to Heroic's bans, they are still enabling the Pugners that we see from Falcons, the DKs that we see, Chen is also a hero that hasn't been banned at the moment, so a lot of the staples of Falcon's drafts are currently in play.
Yeah, they actually went straight down the line. Like this Queen ban as well is a hero that Falcons will never play. It's not even like a great hero right now. It's okay. Cop's fine, you know. But they're just choosing to go down this line of we're banning stuff that you play and we don't, and that's kind of just, I mean, except for Timbersaw, I suppose.
Interesting. Okay, that's actually a sick animation. I haven't seen that one. All right. Anyway, so interesting enough though, Heroic, they ban out the Chen themselves, of course, against Falcons, one of the best, or the best Chen team in the world.
Yep.
Heroic also are a Chen team, but they're like, you know what, we don't want to first pick this and give you, 5 counter picks to a Chen strategy, sorry. So they're still banning it out, and they just take a casual Jakiro, just a position 5. I'm going to be able to play it most lanes, and I don't mind it for the fact that when you think about Falcons, if you can try and kill Amar, put him on the back foot, that's quite a good starting point to trying to shut down Falcons. And Jakiro, the strongest 5 in the patch at trying to kill enemy offlaners.
No, it's certainly a very strong hero and not a hero that's easily exploitable. Falcons responds with Dragon Knight, which is a very classic Falcons pick. You pick a melee strength boy, he's got to kind of blink eventually, he's going to stun people. It's classic Falcons drafting archetype, but it's not particularly good against Jakiro. Generally, Jakiro, you'd say, is one of the better supports against it. It's very good at ganking him, whether it's mid or offlane, so you can either use that gate, or you can come to these runes and play some skirmishes potentially and kill him. So while I think it's a very Falcons pick, picking DK here, it's a flex, they can flex it till the end, yada yada. It's not necessarily good against Jakiro, so it's not super black and white, the opener.
But it feels like Falcons, again, the reason why they're so strong is because they have so many draft patterns and you can't ban them all out. And now it's, are you going to be banning out Hoodwink? Are you banning out Snapfire? There's still the Pugner available. There's a Grimstroke that not many players are playing, but Crit, he's happy to pick it. Like, I think DK just opens up so many different avenues that it does simplify a lot of drafts for Falcons.
No, absolutely. And I think, I would expect they will here in the second phase. Honestly, a bit surprising that Heroic bans they bad, and obviously it's very good against Jakiro, but I think Falcons value flexes very highly. You can see it throughout their drafting history, whether it's Razor or Timbersaw or Viper or any of this random crap. The Mallory and Amar have a lot of hero pool overlap, so DK probably being flexed between mid and carry. Skitter likes the hero quite a bit, so I expect Amar's here to be picked, and the Doom ban sort of lends itself to that.
And of course, for Heroic, when we talk about trying to, shut down Falcons, a lot of people want to shut down Malrine, right? Stop him from being the annoying active mid laner. To do that, though, you have to win your side lanes. A lot of teams, when they try to shut down Malrine, they sacrifice their side lanes, bring the supports to mid too early, and then suddenly Skitter and Amar are having a really good game. Skitter can utilize that for like the early initiating tools of a carry, and then Amar can then, greed it up and be that, that kind of scaling offlane that we often see. So it's always a fine balance between, are you trying to kill in the side lanes? Are you trying to shut down Malrine? And again, we will see shortly where they want to go with this. Falcons using up some of their reserve time. Again, reserve time, I feel like in the middle portion of the draft, it's fine to use quite a lot of reserve time, because one wrong ban does break quite a lot of your draft, and they do go for the Ringmaster. And one of the few teams that are playing this hero, and Crit does like it quite a lot. Escape Pact can be quite annoying to any of the single target or magic damage dealing teams.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Heroic play against the Ringmaster yesterday, and they picked the Shadow Demon response. So Falcons doing their research, deciding for whatever reason they feel like that Ringmaster is the best response here, the best range 4 Crit. Mostly range 4s these days, range melee offlane with Amar. So it's I'm not exactly sure why they. Holy crap! That's a Viper.
Very. Also, not only is it a Viper, it's a very early Viper. Like,
yeah.
Normally Viper is a hero that you may be entertained later, but again, Device started his career by being the Viper guy. If anything, to the detriment to his career, because people only thought he was the Viper guy. He then had to, play 1,000 pubs and he'd become a much better offlaner. But the Tusk Viper, this is such an old school, I am going to win that lane. And I don't mind it for the confidence, but it's also very, very spooky if you fall short.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I mean, the thing is while Viper is good against Dragon Knight, the biggest advantage you get is the lane in the early game, but you don't have last pick on Heroic. So Falcons will see where this Viper is going unless Heroic picks, a permaflex, so 2 heroes that can go to either lane indefinitely. So assuming Falcons just holds the Dragon Knight, which I think they will, Viper will probably not be laning against Dragon Knight. And if it is, Falcons will have the game plan to gank this guy early and often.
One thing to note with Viper, and what people have forgotten about, is his shard is really, really strong at just progressing the game state, right? Being able to minus armor on towers. You now have Tusk for tag team for Roshan. You have Viper shard for a tower. Like, it works line up if they can find more lane winners, there is a chance where they can just run around the map, really do so much progression. My fear is you don't really see these lineups. Like, when was the last time you saw a hyper laning focused, must kill in lane, like low team fight? It really is quite a staple for Heroic in game one. And for Falcons, of course, we spoke about flexibility. Pangolier is another one of those heroes. It does put Heroic on this like team fight timer that, sure, you might be able to shut down a Pango. Let's say it's Viper mid versus Pango. Viper's going to be pretty annoying. But eventually, when Pango picks up a defusal, when Ags, a blink, he doesn't care at all about this hero. So, yeah, we'll see how Heroic can navigate this one.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they've definitely set themselves up to, hey, we want to play fast, we want to win lanes, we want to attack you. And if that doesn't go so well, Eng versus, Viper Tusk is one of the better fours against Enchantress because you have that kill threat through the whatever the healing sprites, whatever they're called. But on the flip side, Viper is very bad against Enchantress. If the early lane does not go super well, suddenly this creep becomes a massive thorn in your side. And you look at Falcons, they have way more draft integrity. They have 2 dudes who are going to go in and stun people. They have supports who have spells and early game potential, whereas on Heroic side, you have got, like you said, 0 team fight. You're all in on aggression, and I'll double
even more aggression,
quadrupling down on the we're playing lanes and we are running at you. Just full all in on this. We're gonna kill and fight, and I think while it's cool and I respect the effort, I think it's very risky, and they need to play very, very well.
Yeah, this is just one of those games where we can very easily talk about, the Falcons, the scaling, if they can just dodge the fights, but there's just something about how much aggression Heroic have. They do have so much damage. For Falcons, what is their damage? It's like a Pango roll, and outside of that, you're waiting for a couple items to come into play. So there is a really big window for Heroic to, of course, utilize their very, one-dimensional draft at the moment. And yeah, Enchantress, like you already mentioned, the heal and laning phase. Even if you can't step out of the lane because you're going to die to tag team, a Shards, and a Viper, just hug the carry, provide that heal, ensure he can get through that. Now Heroic banning out the Terrorblade, so pretty much just banning heroes that put Heroic on this, again, this timer, this idea of Skidder will eventually out-carry us. Is also too greedy here in regards to the pacing, because damage on Falcons is quite low, but if you do get a carry that can just outscale the entire game, Heroic, in the back of their minds, it's like one Roshan mistake, one tier 3 objective mistake, and you can see the game very quickly falling apart for them.
No, I think they could definitely go for something like that. The only thing is, I think it's actually a bit tricky for them to pick a carry here because I don't think they want offlane DK, and DK cannot lane mid against Batrider.
Sure, okay, yeah.
So then Pangolier is mid, and then Dragon Knight's carry, and they're picking offlane. So I think it's actually quite difficult for them to pick a carry, to be honest. I also think it's quite interesting. Like, I'm very curious to see how this mid lane plays out because I think Whisper Batrider is like fearsome. I think he is the best mid Batrider player, and Malrine is the best defensive player. So I'm very curious what lane Malrine goes for if he chooses to play Pango mid. If he even chooses to play DK mid and just pull waves if he's got some fancy tech, like, I think it would be very interesting to see, him trying to survive Whisper's crazy psycho early pressure.
Is there any punishment with, like, the Pucks, the Storms, the heroes that can maybe not die too quickly to the, obviously, Puck's not dying to the Batrider, but punishing the lack of control, the lack of team fight? You eventually will take over the game, you can stall out the game in nice little pick-off plays. If we're thinking about a Malrine hero, that is.
No, absolutely. I think they probably are looking at something like the Puck. The Queen, they banned themselves in first phase, so maybe biting themselves in the foot a little bit there, but I do think that they're probably looking at a mid hero. I don't think DKN should lose super bad to Viper. I can see why Heroic bans Terrorblade there. It's not a very Falcons thing to have DK offlane, but maybe they do go for it. They feel like they need that other carry, and they feel like that Malrine is fine on the Pangolier mid, so they have options here. That's where we go back to these flexes from Falcons. What are they doing exactly? It's not super clear to say, whereas Heroic has clearly spelled out their game plan. We're going to run at you, and we just have to see if that pans out or not.
I mean, that also opens up then, depending on what Heroic pick in the carry role, how strong is that safe lane? Because if it's a weak safe lane, then Amar might read, I can still get my Mars through the game, I can get another team fight aspect, so you're not going to punish me in the first 7 minutes. When your team's ready to fight at 12, my offlaner can come into play, and you have to try and skirmish and outfight a Pango plus a Mars. So there's a lot of options where maybe they sacrifice one lane, like you mentioned, that DK doesn't really lane well, but if a Mars sees the big fight that he can get in his hero, there's a lot of options for Falcons. Someone's going to get sacrificed because of how aggressive Heroic is. And what will Yuma be playing here? I mean, if they want to continue down this line of haha, try and break the mid game, then Meepo's still available. It's only one Pangolier. Sure, there's a still counter pick down the line, but there's some shenanigans Heroic can do if they they really want to go 5 heroes in the win by 25 type style.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. Meepo is a pretty rough counter, so maybe Yuma has faith in it even through that. There's also, I think there's still Gyrocopter in the pool. So here Yuma's favored quite a bit.
Yeah.
I imagine they will want some amount of. So yeah, okay. They do go for the Gyrocopter. It's quite nice because it gives them that team fight and it gives them the solid lane, right? You were saying if they pick a weaker laner, maybe it gives a more of that freedom to pick something new and to bolster that team fight. But instead they have Gyro. It's a hero that's. I mean, Jakiro Gyro can't lose to anything. It's an unbeatable lane.
It just shoves the wave so nicely. And also, if they don't want to shove the lane with Flak, they can play in front of the wave with Barrage and Dual Breath and Liquid Fire. So yeah, very, very potent. And of course, they do ban out the Mars because they are, respecting a Mars ability to kind of control some of the aggression that Heroic's trying to bring.
Yeah. But Heroic definitely do have weaknesses in their draft. When you have these sort of triple range cores like this, you only have really the Tusk that's going to go in. Sure, Bat can go in and lasso people. But if he's not really farmed or if he doesn't choose to go for a blink, even if he blinks in and lassos a guy, DK can counter blink stun him or you can get roll counter stunned. Heroic is very far away, and so if Falcons have heroes that are difficult to catch like that Puck, or they have a turret hero like the Terra Blade that Heroic banned stands and hits, Heroic has pretty big issues actually reaching this guy and killing you out, especially whenever you have the Ringmaster box, which does not really have counters this game, and Heroic does not have a ton of AoE damage.
Okay, alright. We're going for the Skinner Weaver.
Okay, so he is just tanking the DK mid. I'm so curious. I mean, Mallory is the only player that would do this. Nobody else would see Batrider and know it's mid and say, I'm going to play DK against Batrider, even if I can counterpick.
But is this where like the build changes, where DK thinks about like Blink Mage Slayer, earlier BKB? Like, what is the path to Malrine surviving this, the first 15 minutes? Of course, we talk about pulling the earlier waves, doing some like gank shenanigans, but what is like the itemization for Malrine to fix this matchup?
I think, to be honest, he's just mode survive, and I think so much depends on the support's ganks and things like this. He may look at a 4-staff, he may look at a Mage Slayer, may look at just, rushing the BKB after Blink, but to me, I think how fast he gets to that Blink and how this lane goes, do they get snowballed on? Because I think both sides supports are very strong at these skirmishes, very strong in these fights, and if DK mid, if the hero falls behind, can become very, very useless. So a lot to me depends on how these mid skirmishes go, and does this Bat go completely out of control, because DK has the potential to chain feed like crazy this game.
And then on top of that, though, there is still a world in which Skidder snaking can find some kill potential on Divine, right? A Viper Tusk, your mentality is often chase down the lane, try and go for that extra fight. A couple deaths from Viper, it really can change the script. But now Skidder's able to make these moves and can kind of fix some of the problems that you're presenting. Did you know, though, Viper, so far in this competitive season of 2025 and 2026, has only been contested in 1.5% of games. That means pick or ban. It's only been played 17 times so far in the season. Like, it is not a hero that we see at all. Heroic, game one best of 3 away from the first, tier 1 potential grand finals for South America. That is, again, so much confidence coming from Heroic, and honestly, I don't mind it in a game 1. This is the type of game where you bring all the prep, you bring the ideas, Falcons are going to take a DK, concoct this surprise draft where do you think Falcons are ready for a Viper coming into this game?
I don't know if they were initially, but I do think looking at this game, I think Viper, this Weaver cannot die. He will never die, at least not in the early game until many more items come online or he messes up severely. And so I think while Viper is very out of the box and I respect the pizzazz, I think it's very risky and Heroic needs to clutch up and play well because it is not an easy road for the Flying Snake.
There is a reason why Falcons, of course, have won TI, have won so many tournaments. There are adjustments on the fly during the draft. Even though the heroes don't look too different to what Falcons normally go for, it is like the correct response under the pressure of Heroic's surprise pick. So again, we shall see how that goes for Heroic, but lanes so important. Of course, as you see here, I think KJ is yapping about his microphone or something. We'll get into the game shortly.
Yeah, but you can see Whisper has the blood grenade. You know what he wants to do, and a mango. You know what he wants to do in this line. He wants to kill the DK. He's not playing to out CS him. He's not playing to chill and make this. No, he wants to kill him.
But when you see a blood grenade on a mid laner, you know he's gonna go for that fight. So they're probably gonna call for the supports to make that rotation. In 3 minutes time, maybe 2 minutes time, we'll see what's happening. Of course, our beautiful casters. I called the casters earlier today beautiful as well, but these are beautiful as well. Owen and Fogged, please take it away.
Thank you very much, T-Gov, and yes, hello Singapore, good evening to you. Getting ready here to get into the action here of our next series. It's going to be a great one.
It's got to be.
Right, we've got Falcons, who seem to kind of be winning a lot quite recently, against Heroic, the challengers here in this situation. We know that they can come in with these crazy sort of moves to upset some of the bigger names. Are they going to be able to do it here today against Falcon?
It's a good question, really, because we've seen, especially me and you, we got to cast one recently where they had that gyro with the rapier moment with the comeback, but in best of threes, Falcons have had the edge. We'll have to see what comes this time.
Absolutely. Are Falcons going to get another easy step forward to the grand finals, or are Heroic going to be able to provide us with quite the upset? We're going to find out as we get into game one. Here we have it, ladies and gentlemen, getting into the action, and exciting to see some heroes that we just haven't been seeing from other teams, right? As the draft panelists were talking about, Heroic, we're going to get to see some Viper action. Something that we've seen, I feel like, crop up in favorability, especially in some of the higher rank games.
Sure.
So in the mid lane, obviously this time round, it's going to be Divide taking to the side lane, a bit of a throwback to what we've seen him do in the past. What do you sort of make of this here at the moment? And has it ended up being a good draft? Because it has been picked quite early this game.
That's a bit of my worry, because I was just chatting with you a little bit. Yes, this hero can be very tanky, can get to these points of just being that frontliner, but in this game, I have worries of him actually getting to that and being that frontline tanky, because it's just so much hard physical damage. Minus armor from Pango, minus armor from Weaver, minus armor from the DK, very likely as we check. Yeah, corrosive, so those big hits isn't really what Viper likes to play against. He likes to go against these like smaller instances of damage, so he can tank up versus it with that attack speed slow. But if they're big instances of damage, it can definitely be a big problem. So we'll see what the Vi can do. And this is a very different Viper than he used to play. He used to play literally the Q, right? You're playing impressive.
Lane dominating.
This one's a little more different, where you're kind of just in their face,
shoving
it in.
Because overall, Viper is pretty much what exclusively, would you say, at this level played in sort of the way where you're just maxing the W and the passive?
I mean, like T said, it's only played 1%, contested in 1% of games today, or in this year, and he's actually gone for the poison attack already.
Yeah, we'll take poison attack for level 1 here, at least for the first blood attempt, but Davai himself, he's falling low. He'll be the first to go down as Criff will get the first blood. They'll be able to get the kill in return. Here Falcons can get the second. They chase down King Jungles. They should be able to chase him out here. Skeeter with another Shikuchi will find him. So Falcons, well, they won't be too upset with that start.
No, definitely not. Crit getting the most of it there. And I've seen Heroic do this now so many times, actually, that I'm sure Falcons did their homework. I think this is like the third or fourth game I've seen Heroic bring the 3 heroes to fight around that bounty. So you can see Falcons,
especially just on the Viper now, right? He's taken the poison attack, so he's got no defensive capabilities. Level 1, of course, incredibly weak, especially when you go for this level 1 poison attack, which I say other Vipers aren't doing right now. Another death here for Davai. It's not going to be an easy start for him in this lane, and just in this game in general, right? If you have a rough start to Viper, especially if you're on like an off lane, in a side lane as opposed to a mid, it can get rough very quickly.
This hero, for all tales of time, has been a hero that you want to be playing very ahead on. Back-to-back deaths per 1 minute. He literally TP died. He's going to have to do the walk all the way back up there.
That's rough. Yeah,
that means
he's going to have to pull off some magic to have an impact in this game already. You know, it's early days, but this is going to be a massive struggle for Divide with this sort of stuff.
Especially because he's their frontliner. Quinn was saying it himself too. There can be problems in games when you end up having triple range cores that you don't have someone that is that frontliner. Well, I mean, we'll have to see how he does adjust things, but the most important thing really about this lane is when snaking hits level 3, then the Viper almost can't lane up there. That big creep comes in, you have big problems, and it's going to be accelerated massively. So
let's have a look. As I said, we'll keep our eyes on Divide to see how he does his best to try and come back into this game. But that lane in particular, not going to be easy at all for him. It's going to be very difficult, and highly likely that Skeeter is going to get quite the farm. They will get the set up into him after he pops the Shikuchi. He's going to be back up in a second, but I tell you what, he's ticking down low, and he's down.
There we go.
All right, Divide strikes back. Somehow being able to catch it. I mean, he'd already used the Shikuchi initially there, and Skeeter just underestimating the potential of Heroic to strike back after Divide's rough start and being stuck on the level 1 for as long as he is, as long as he was. Yeah, a bit of a slip up from Skeeter, gets punished heavily by Schofield on the Tusk with that catch.
Yeah, gets to level 2 on Tusk, so he gets
that's huge. Yep, yeah, dying like that after you're set up in such a preferable position as the Weaver against this Viper that died twice, had to walk to lane. Yeah, Divide getting a chance to get back in on the laning stage.
Really important that Divide gets the last hit on the kill there too. He's actually going to have the helm, so things are going to be at least restabilized a bit up there. Looking at mid, this is the one that we would probably have to look at, as Malrine is getting committed on here with the blood grenade.
A lot of stacks.
But he's okay.
He's enduring the pressure, and looking at the CS right now, he's actually doing very good with these extra denies, 13 and 6 to the 8 and 5.
All right, because this is what a lane matchup that DKs can very much suffer in on the first few levels.
You can't feed. They're gonna just go for the kills pretty much as soon as they hit the level 2 if they do get those sticky stacks up onto you. But Malrine, we've seen him do this a lot. He's able to do very well in matchups that can be very difficult, starting with boots, getting the magic stick early on. Always very good at manipulating waves.
Yeah, I mean, I just again looking at this top lane. I think the fact that Device 10 and 3 against
he's ahead of Skitters, yes,
that's pretty crazy. We saw him die 2 times in the first pre 1 minute, and he's doing fine. So all going to plan here for Device.
Impressive stuff.
Yeah.
And Schofield was able to get that. We did see it on the screen before, but he was able to get the re-block at least onto the small camp. Snaking will unblock.
Of course, down on the bottom lane. I mean, in terms of what they gave Yuma, you know, who can blame him, right? The gyro performances from Yuma that we've been seeing recently, it's been fantastic, right? In terms of stomping games, making comebacks, you know, Yuma, he's kind of done it all and shown what he can do on the gyro. So any sort of chance, I feel, for Heroic that they get the opportunity to pick this hero last as they carry, in numerous scenarios, it's going to feel good for them.
100%. And Yuma's actually been one of my favorite carries to watch throughout this entire year in terms of improvement and just confidence, right? The confidence to be able to just buy rapiers in moments when maybe isn't fully necessary, but it just feels like, why not? I've been really enjoying his playstyle and how aggressive he does play. And I think this is a lane that we don't really need to look at that much, to be honest, because it's a pretty free gyro lane with that Jakiro behind him. But Amar is getting some trade for him.
He is, but indeed not being able to slow down any of the farm that Yuma has right now. At the top of the last hits, like quite a bit, Yuma.
Malrine is continuing. We saw him drag the wave there beforehand, so he is continuing to have that very good start. Mid lane, now Whisper is going for the kill again. Malrine asking for a TP, perhaps.
Should be fine here. Not quite able to dive the tower, at least get under it, get on top of Malrine. And yeah, Malrine knows throws Whisper out a tip. He's like, you know what? I'm surviving. He really is.
He missed the money creep. Whisper dragged away, but he didn't get the money creep into it all. So Malrine actually gets the deny on the money creep, and he gets himself a free wave. And Malrine is doing excellent in this matchup.
Yeah, he's very much keeping his cool there against the Bat Rider on these first few waves. Very nicely.
Top, Devi is getting pretty close to that Dominator. Is able to deal with that pressure. That creep is starting to rack up, is starting to hurt them quite a bit as he has hit that level 3. Now 4 on this Enchantress is great. Casual blood grenade.
Whisper, think about trying to turn, or at least try and keep crit off him by fighting back a little bit.
Not
fine for now.
Not an easy hero to go forever, that Ringmaster, especially if he does have one of the souvenirs. He did have that whoopee cushion.
Well, will be off the mark here. King Jungle's just doing his best to keep Amar pushed back. Yuma leading it with a rocket barrage.
Can they stick on him?
The swashbuckle to break away. Still though, almost allowed to slow on towards him. One charges. Get a decent amount of HP back up Amar. Shield crash back up in a couple of seconds. He's there around the tree line, but Yuma in position. Wait for him as he comes out. Yuma has already swashbuckles back up in a second, but not soon enough to escape. As Yuma takes Amar down. Same time, Crit and Marine able to chase Whisper deep into his own jungle. So Falcons, they'll be able to find the trade elsewhere on the map.
They're putting more focus on
courier, but Whisper actually able to keep that safe despite Crit's best efforts to get the vision up there.
And this is a really clever move from Falcons since Malrine's done so well in the mid lane. They're putting so much emphasis, but Yuma, look at him go.
To the mid. He's like, all right, this is where the party's at. I want to be invited. He swings over, takes down Crit. I mean, Malrine, he has to bail out. He's like, all right, the carrier from Heroics turned up. I don't want to be here anymore.
What a rotation.
He'll look over towards Snaking. You're going to also try for TP out with the heels into the... That Enchantress always a difficult one to kill, even if it's diving the tier 1 and the carry's turned up, doesn't matter.
But the emphasis they're putting on Whisper is insane. This DK is significantly ahead of Whisper's Bat Rider. And that says a lot because, like Quinn was saying, Whisper's Bat is the most fearsome. Like, everyone is terrified of a Whisper Bat Rider. The fact that they've done this, they took his tower at 6 minutes.
On the first Dragon Ball.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I love the rotation from Yuma, but that's going to hurt Whisper quite a lot here because he's not going to be this Bat Rider playing from ahead, looking for these easy pickoffs. It's pretty difficult for him, especially also playing into a save. He's playing into crit with the box.
Top lane, Devi should be able to start ramping up the pressure that he can put on. Of course, in terms of the skill build, did indeed end up going for kind of the classic.
He did.
Still maxing out the poison attack, which of course has set the lane up in a way, between him and Schofield. Yeah, Skeeter, if he Shikuchis into the wrong position and gets caught, the amount of damage that comes out between them with like the tag team and the poison attacks, it's a lot. You know, the offensive output of these two is something that Falcons very much have to respect.
I prefer that he did do this in this game too. Okay. Because I think a lot of times if you do just do that nether toxin, you're just pushing the wave in and then just free farm, right? So I think in this one in particular, especially since he started to get that comeback, he needed to go for this. Otherwise, you're just gonna.
That's fair.
You might never come back.
And also, I imagine because of the way he saw the draft play out afterwards, as you were saying, you know, he's not necessarily going to be this hero that can just survive in these early moves because they can go on him, even if he goes for the defensive build. So yeah, sometimes the offensive will devise the best defense as he's able to put the pressure on and continue to match the farm that Skeeter's getting on the carry weaver in that top lane.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, that's a good point. Because it is so much physical damage that's going to be coming out from them that, yeah, just going for like a more natural Viper build.
Just get your damage out, you know, try and sort of throw it all out, the damage there before you do inevitably die, and hopefully bring at least a hero, sometimes maybe two down with you.
Marine.
Gonna get trapped here by the shards.
And the shield.
And indeed, but the shield was pretty tanky, but look who's here again, Yuma. He's ready to join the action over towards the river. Now, with him joining, it's a good attempt with the whip, but they won't be able to get Maureen out. If you're Falcons, it's just suddenly there's this gyro turning up.
Yuma is one of those players that just loves to fight, right? He just loves to be able to turn up, and that's why they do love to play the gyro copper with him. Like, 2 times now, pre 9 minutes, has abandoned his safe lane to look for those plays to be able to catch Whisper back up. I feel like it's a pretty big deal that he does that.
Nearly, you know, very much keeping Skeeter on his toes there, you know, forcing him to have to time that back up close to him because of how much damage over time was being done with the Viper Strike thrown on towards him. Skeeter will, of course, still get out, but he's having to back out of the lane. The pressure from Devi with the max poison attack and with this helmet, the Dominator is going to continue onto this tower. And at this moment, I don't know if there's many heroes on Falcons that want to turn up for defense up there. They'll look to just try and match the offensive down bottom with the Dragon Form back up for Marine and look to get the tier 1 tower trade.
With the way that Falcons plays, with the way that Mara does his Pango, they're not going to defend that tier 1 because he usually, and I'm checking right now, he doesn't skill Rolling Thunder almost ever at level 6 on this hero. He likes to play for the farm, get that Diffusal Blade timing before going for it. So a trade of towers, they are set up at the moment still on Skeeter, but I believe it's just to soak that XP up there. And yeah, the big thing about this, I want to talk about this Yuma rotations on the gyro too, is when you do have one of your cores that can be starting to struggle a bit, which you could say Whisper on the bat, right? You want to start doing this on like a carry position if you're able to, which gyro is probably one of the best to be able to just move out of the lane, get these kills, catch your mid back up into a better position.
Absolutely, he's been getting away with it as well. Yeah. So far, got some eyes on him down bottom, but close to the tier 2, not really something that Falcons can set up upon right now.
Falcons content with farming, as they usually are. 5 to 5 right now. Snaking is starting to do his Enchantress thing. He's taking over the enemy jungle. He's taking away creeps as well with getting that extra farm.
We'll see Whisper's game start to ramp up a little bit. The boost of travel pretty much done on the bat after that a bit of a slower start that he would have hoped for against Maureen. Being able to hold his own in that mid lane matchup as the Dragon Knight. Maureen on the other side of things, also close to his big pickup, just about to have the Blink Dagger.
This is going to be a very dangerous timing. When he's got this Blink, there's a lot of explosive ways that Falcons can open this map up, and as, you know, I'm going to reference it again with what Quinn was talking about, they don't really have the same type of initiating force on Heroic for a very, very long time. It's going to be much more, you walk into us and we use our abilities.
Which I feel like that's sort of one of the play styles we've seen Heroic do before. Sure, we think of them as this very offensive team, but I think sometimes, especially when they're in the more difficult matchups, like teams like Falcons, where that level of respect is there, they do sometimes draft towards that style where, as you say, they indeed just wait for them and look for sort of the turnarounds to the plays that Falcons are making against them.
Whisper.
Pretty dead hit.
Yeah.
Let's see if he's got any way out. He does not. We'll get caught by the whip. Maureen's taking a lot of damage in return. He's doing his best to get him out to safety and will manage to do so.
The fact that this DK is able to do this, though, like, this should be the opposite way around, right? If you're ideally having this bat ride versus the DK, you want to be the one oppressing him, looking for the kills. The entire script has been flipped. It feels like with the way how Falcons has gotten that, at least early game for the DK. It's very difficult for Whisper to get online. He's got the bots, but this Blink is going to come out very late, so very difficult for them to make moves. Might just mean they hit creeps though. And then just, play for the defensive route. They do have the snowball save with the Tusk to potentially be there for some of these catches if there is a Dragon Knight.
Yeah, because I think overall, Heroic, even if they do start to slip behind as a team, as long as they know that they've got Yuma in a good position, they're always going to at least have some sort of hope in this game. Even if they, certainly, you know, Falcons are able to get to the mid-game, have like a 10k advantage. If that gyro is still up there in sort of the top 3 net worth, there'll always be that possibility of that turnaround team fight around the strength of Yuma.
Gyro is definitely one of those like 4 protect ones that we used to talk about. It doesn't really exist anymore nowadays, but if it does get to that point, Gyro can be one of those end-all be-all carries Divide.
Look at the good setup here, Crit. Lining this up very nicely to ensure that Divide won't get a chance to survive. Mosquito able to jump out with the time lapse. Not a chance for Heroic to bring in any backup to find anything in return.
Falcons is doing what Falcons does, though. They're being very oppressive on the map. They're getting that net worth lead for all 3 cores. Even the supports are farming, and I always like to point this out when there's an Enchantress, which is pretty much only Falcons, the Rabble Rouser, right? It's going to be a lot of heroes on Heroic kind of hitting these neutral camps. It makes it a lot harder. It really does. I do like to factor in this innate of the Enchantress quite a lot.
Falcons ready to get aggressive again, with this favorable vision that they've set up.
Got Dragon Form again. And they've got this Diffusal Blade on Amar. They've got a lot of their core items already picked up here on Falcons for the first early fights. Whisper.
That's another quick and easy catch here. Similar spot to where he was caught before. Maureen very much having Whisper's number this game.
Yeah, this is pretty concerning. As we said, Yuma is still having an excellent time, but these 2 other cores, they're falling really far behind, and the supports are also not getting much of anything on the side of Heroic. As we said, it's okay sometimes to put all your eggs into the Gyrocopter basket, but there's a lot of cores and a lot of scaling on the side of Falcons as well. All 3 of these physical cores.
Yeah, absolutely, and a lot of ways to sort of survive and sort of dip out of the action if the flaks start flying in from the Gyrocopter, which it's going to make it very, very hard to deal with some of the slippery heroes like the Pango, like this Weaver.
And they can accelerate things pretty fast, right? This is a lineup that kills all those objectives insanely fast. Roche or the Tormentor, as soon as they get a moment to go back to do it after the pressure comes out, they can kill it in seconds. They're gonna steal that shrine. Pressure is definitely adding up. Let's see what Heroic wants to do.
I've got the smoke set up and have the sort of sight set for Amar. Amar gets the Rolling Thunder off, and that will easily be enough to allow him to get away from that attempt.
Just one step ahead every single time, it does feel like in this early game. Falcons. Even pulling the lane back there with that roll, that was actually kind of nice. Old school play they used to do all the time to make sure that the carry can't get that extra farm from the lane.
Amar happy to stick around with the backup of Crit.
This is not the playstyle that the Viper wants to be doing. He wants to be hitting and going forward and kind of putting himself out on the map. He's jungling. It cannot feel good for Devi right now.
Yeah, because that's, when you do go this sort of build, sure, I guess you've got the Helm to maybe help you if you want to keep the creep with you rather than push the lanes, but when you don't have, one of the reasons why we're seeing a lot of other Vipers do the max nether toxin and such, because it does help you farm the neutrals out a little bit more. With the max poison attack, it's not going to be quick farming.
I'm surprised he put the 4th point in the poison attack, honestly. I thought he was going to keep the 3 and then start going back because of how this game is slowing down, and it's getting very concerning. Even though this Gyrocopter is very fat, 6k net worth.
It's going to be a heavy one.
Picking up.
But as I say, he's done it before on his Gyro. He's done it before. This is definitely going to be one of the tougher ones against Falcons.
I think this is the roughest Whisper Batrider game I've actually seen in a very, very long time. And it's a matchup that, they set him up for. They wanted to set him up for success versus that DK, but it's not the case with how Maureen played.
Absolutely, yeah, Maureen making no mistakes in that matchup.
Up Yuma. He shows
the jump on him, and this is the big catch as well. Yuma, the high value kill for Falcon to find. He'll get the chance to turn around with the ult, but he will still fall. Has he set up enough for Heroic to find anything more? And look over towards Skeeter. Look at the knockback on towards Maureen, but Kingdom is dying. Maureen will finally fall. So they'll get at least one big kill in return. That's also set up as well onto Skeeter. They'll get a big kill. Whisper striking back. Snowball set up over the Crit.
There he is.
He's back in the game. Triple kill for him on the bat. Azuma may end up going down, but he does enough to set up the team fight for a chance for Heroic. Falcons, though, they say this fight's not over. Amar in with the Rolling Thunder over to Schofield. Kind of trapped at the moment around the Lotus, but we'll still finish him off with the swashbuckle. Naked. He's going to have to opt for the TP out. They don't have any way to cancel it, so he will get out of there. All in all, though, Heroic, they'll certainly take that one. As I say, a huge jump up there for the start. And, Whisper getting away with that triple kill after a slow beginning on this game as the bat.
All we had to say was he was having a very, very hard time on the Batrider, and bam.
There we go.
Find that catch. Perfect opportunity to get the lasso there. Fight lasts so long that the Gyrocopter actually respawns to the
back
end
to
there.
farm. He's
Back to farm.
happened. I never died. And Yuma able to continue the farm, and with the result of that fight, did mean that Falcons didn't necessarily get to do anything big after initially killing the gyro. Humans still able to stay there at the top of the board on the net worth.
Yeah, good TP reactions coming in for Rock. Next fight, Falcons, Malrine will probably have the BKB done, though, so it could be a lot more difficult for him to bring him down, because he did take quite a bit of magic damage, as we saw there at the initial start. And they're kind of stuck on their side of the map, is what I am seeing, though, for Heroic. They're having difficulties keeping the waves shoved out, and just difficulties showing on those lanes, too, because they could just get ganked. So they're kind of just hitting the creeps quite a lot here. On the neutrals, that is, sticking together. Whisper with the bat might look to make a move. The two supports at the moment.
Yeah, did manage to get the blink off the back of that last sort of set of situations.
And he got a triple kill. He literally is tied net worth now with Malrine just because of that.
So what they can find, starting to scout things out. Amar is in the neighborhood. Yeah, they'll just go for the creep wave, not able to get any sort of jump onto the Pango.
Amar was watching him. He had the ward as well there. Supports. We'll still do keep seeing Falcons continue to get that scale going, so they're still farming quite a bit more than the supports on the side of Heroic. Heroic is kind of having to just follow the cores around with the two supports instead of on Falcons, where they're farming, especially Snay, as he always does.
Flight damage version not feeling for Falcons.
And difficult, I would say, for Heroic to really contest in that area.
Pretty safe road, of course, for snaking on the edge, able to tank it.
And they have all the information, too. They see Whisper bottom with that ward that they had placed earlier. The Firefly was used. See a little creep battle going on there from snaking and Divide.
But indeed, yeah, just no attempt or availability of Heroic to head over here. So Falcons should be able to get away with this.
Yeah, that's Malrine. He has BKB after this, so he's going to be so much harder to bring down in the fights. They might have to use... They might have to throw like 3 ults onto him. They might have to throw like Bat Rider, Viper, and the Tusk to potentially stop him, which is just going to leave opportunities to open up a lot of potential for Falcons to just run over the fight.
Absolutely, yeah. Skeeter sort of gets the freedom to play these fights. When Mjolnir done, he's going to be kicking out an insane amount of damage as the Weaver.
Okay, Schofield actually has the blink done at a pretty okay timing, all things considered. He's only died the once in this game. So can go for the saves versus that stun that comes out from the DK bar.
Falcons as King Jungles gets caught alone. Falcons starting to push in the waves.
Skeeter keeping ahead actually here of the Gyrocopter, which is pretty impressive. Some pretty crazy farm here on the Sweeper. Level 15 has been hit also, so he's got the talent. Very annoying one to play against.
Falcons.
They're just keeping so much pressure. It's all the lanes just keep getting shoved in, and they just have all this information, and I'm just Heroic. They keep having to follow Hero's lane. Look at Schofield following Whisper around. You saw the Jakiro, the one time he split away, gets picked off. Falcons just cleaner movements around the map.
Getting all these timings, they get a nice early Roshan. They're able to move immediately over towards the Tormentor hit.
And it's an efficient Tormentor also, right? I mean, they bring the third hero toward the end of it there, but it's just the two of them almost bringing it down by themselves. And looks like they are connecting for a potential move here.
They can get the jump on him, not quite.
He couldn't finish all the creeps, though. They're actually all going to be taken there from Falcons. That's Lamar. Okay, he was trying to sandwich him, but Whisper TP's out.
Yeah, doesn't play too greedy there, Whisper. Make sure he's out of the area before Falcons can pincer him in.
The Lincolns are starting to get queued up, at least on the DK, so he is starting to feel like he does want it. Since there's quite a bit of ones that he can block in this game, of course, that Viper Strike or the Lasso in particular, probably the two biggest ones, if he does want to go that route. Let's see if he does commit for it. Now they're just hitting creeps. They're controlling map, and the network just honestly continues growing pretty fast.
It is, yeah. They're getting further ahead here. You know, getting over that 10k sort of net worth position where, as I said, there's always still a chance for the Gyro to turn these sort of games, but it's definitely not easy.
No, definitely could feel like, as you said, we started the game, starting before the game, saying that the potential for Rapiers could be coming, but we'll have to see if it does get to that point. BKB is done for the Gyro now.
Because overall, is that going to be a thing that's sort of in the back of Falcons' minds where they're like, we ideally want to shut this game down before it gets to that potential? Or do you feel that they feel confident, even in the later stages of this, that they're not going to necessarily push it harder than they would do otherwise?
I mean, I would say they probably feel confident, but they do have to always think about it because they literally lost to it in like a couple weeks ago when we were covering it, so. It was versus that Yuma Gyro. They're smoked up, looking for a play. Skeeter.
Get the Tizia in time before Heroic's really able to set up anything around there, and even if they did, yeah, he just would have been in hand for Skeeter. So not the ideal target for Heroic to find.
Snaking. Will he be the one they want to go for?
Should have a chance of getting him there. Was trying to hold the amplified damage room for the team, but ends up just being a freebie for Heroic. He's going to get the chance to live, though.
He's alive.
In fact, with the heals going off, yeah, he's fine. Even with the pickup of the amplified damage room, they still couldn't do enough to kill Snaking. The save comes in from Crit, and no kills going to be found there.
Wow. In the position at the right time, both of them, they're trying to camp the DD room. They're trying to ensure that one of their cores can get it. Heroic. That's their whole smoke movement. That was a full minute that they were looking for a catch. Pesky Snaking Enchantress.
Yeah, it's only going to get harder as well if he's able to get this pipe online for the team.
Yep, it actually absorbs so much damage this game. The bat, everybody, right? Absolutely everybody's damage is going to be absorbed.
Pretty much until the Gyro gets this insane right-click damage builds online. Everything else very much going to be put to a stop by this Enchantress with that pipe. Snaking's looking towards.
Like we've seen this so many times from Falcons, right? Just they get this lead, and it's very difficult for teams to break that, especially with the lack of initiations, right? It's like Whisper now has BKB. He had the blink earlier, but just with blink, it's dangerous because you can get caught by a lot of spells. With BKB, perhaps now they can start to look for some, but yeah, he has to kind of just go for it. He is really the only one because Schofield can't really act as that initiator in this game, as we saw there before.
And do you think he's going to commit for this, going for the Orchid in a situation that it certainly feels like it's a bit later down the pipeline, right? If you're going back for the Orchid at this stage.
Yeah, he still might.
Do you still like that?
Yeah, I think versus the Weaver it has its merits, even versus the Pango.
Sure, because they just don't want to be buying BKBs themselves.
Yeah, I think it can force a BKB, right? It's also a Linken's Breaker, so I think that's the big thing. You always want to have some type of Linken's Break on Batrider, because eventually they will get Linken, so.
The smoke attempt here from Heroic. We'll see Snaking, but obviously last time that attempt didn't go too hot, so ideally they want to find something else.
He's scouting the rune.
Yeah,
he saw them grab it.
So Snaking knows that something's up.
Instantly pings. Malrine backs up all the way to the tower.
Heroic is not getting the chance with these smokes.
They're again, it's just Falcons. Just a step ahead, maybe 2 steps ahead, just reading every single one of the moves, and the net worth continues to grow and grow and grow. And yep, Linken's number 1 is getting close to being done, at least on Malrine. Second Linken's is starting to get queued up by Skitter. I don't think Amar was at least queuing it up. He's going for his own Ags, but he could potentially maybe even go for one eventually too. Looks like he's going more AC and Basher, just amping up the physical even more. They're gonna have so much minus armor on this draft.
Heroic's heroes die pretty quickly, you know, the cores.
Minus 12, right? Then you've got the bugs that are continually adding up. You've got the DK as well, too. It's going to be a lot of minus armor. And these heroes, especially Viper, right, can definitely get brought down pretty quickly versus that. Not going to be nearly as tanky as you usually like to be. Tier 2 is dying to a Dark Troll Summoner.
Yeah, they're keeping that pressure on in the mid.
They actually just killed it. Heroic, not even reacting.
Pretty much getting away with whatever they want right now, Falcons.
Heroic's trying to make these moves constantly.
They're just not catching anyone.
Connecting. Absolutely nothing. And there's that pipe. Snaking has gotten the time.
Yeah, that's pretty terrifying.
And they've got the Linken's. I mean, these timings.
How do you go on these heroes? Again, it's going to have to be what we were talking about earlier, where it's Heroic, you're just building. You're building for the comeback.
And now you're probably looking at Schofield and you're like, damn, I wish he went drinking buddies instead of tag team also. But whatever.
They could just go all in on the Gyro.
It is what it is.
Let's see if they get the chance to find that fight, but the chance is looking slimmer and slimmer as each minute passes here.
All the like scary farm, Snaking is just going to the scary farm because he's like, go on me.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's a level 14 Enchantress who's just farming it up. He's gonna start doing quite a bit of damage also, Owen. He's gonna have level 4 impetus. He's got the 4 staff near the Hurricane Pike.
They're gonna try something in the mid here. Whisper wants to go for this, doesn't find the chance. Has put the big heavy turn to Malrine. The Linken's keeps Malrine safe. Schofield's gone. They just have to back out of this Heroic. Whisper's BKB shortly coming to an end. By the dagger here, but should be fine. Another one thrown across, another connection in fact there from Crit. Won't be enough to kill Whisper and manage to fire a catch. Nearly the third one connect. Whisper will be fine, but Divine indeed trapped in the mid, but the Wheel of Wonder laid down. He's out. Falcons getting these kills. Heroic again desperately trying to make these attempts to see if they can catch Falcons apart from one another. It's just not happening. And Falcons, they're ready to start poking the high ground.
That's Whisper's BKB reveal. He shows up and has to just literally book it. He almost dies as well, too, just to that bug that was on him from the Weaver. poking that high ground. Roche is going to be respawning very, very soon, so if Falcons doesn't want to, they can set up for it pretty soon. They also have Shrine of Wisdom they can look to steal. And yeah, we see them. He literally got Lincoln's, and as he got it, it literally instantly blocked the last health.
Falcons very much just having all the answers so far in this game one.
I mean, they're truly in their element. Look at their draft, right? It's literally as iconic as it can be for them. And just overall with the way that they've played, the style that they've had, just super oppressive, keeping Heroic kind of jungling and looking for moves constantly and just not finding those moves. And Deep Wards, we saw there, scouting out Yuma. Of course, now he shows himself in the lane, but so much information that they've been able to gather with these creeps from snaking or just shoving waves.
Of course, we see Yuma. He's got the dream queued up. It's a pretty distant dream.
Well, what you do, we always talk about it now, right? Because you can disassemble the beautiful chop shop for the gyro. You can get the data list, disassemble,
and have that ready
use that demon edge for that rapier. So it's going to be some time still, and we'll see how much time is actually given to them with Falcons looking to potentially go for that Roche. Okay, it's a minute, and they're actually not going to steal the Shrine of Wisdom either. So
Falcons, knowing that they don't have to take any risks at this point.
I mean, I'm just looking at snaking, auto attacking, and ancient creep. I guess he's microing his. Okay, yeah, he's microing his creep. It looks really funny. The lax, how laxed he can be on his enchantress right now. Ski's going that Orchid build next. Yeah, Heroic. When was the last time they actually were able to find a kill?
It's been a while.
I actually can't even remember how long
it's been a while.
13 minutes?
It was back there at the triple kill.
Yep.
That was sort of the highlight there, and for Whisper, and then it went back downhill again for them as a team. Down 17k at the moment. No signs of being able to slow down this. Just consistently, the Falcons are building against them.
And usually Heroic is one of those teams that's able to find those smoke moves, able to find the catches in between things.
And not this time.
Everything's just been disrupted and slowed down so much. As you said, the blink for the bat did come out a lot later than initially wanted to, and it's a lot up to Whisper to look for those plays. But yeah, Falcons have just dodged almost all the moves. And now just camping high ground, waiting for Roche, and it started.
Got another smoke setup here, so if they want to try and go for another attempt at a play.
Okay. Snaking is in position with a gem.
What sort of call do they want to make? They want to try for it. They want to continue trying to just take these risks, but Falcons are very set up, as you say. Snaking in the tree line, disrupts the smoke. Skeeter, he's ready to lead and scout things out. Jump forward with the Rolling Thunder. They've just managed to catch Divine in the tree. Schofield's not able to get him out in time. Divine's gone. Heroic again, they have to just run. They have to cut their losses here, get the claws out of this. They might not get the chance. They've got the lasso. They're trying, but the save's going to be coming into play. Amar, he'll get the shield crash off. They're desperately trying to finish him here. Yuma at the front. He can't do enough damage, though, to kill Amar. Amar is going to be perfectly fine.
2 buybacks.
Heroic, they still want to try for the job. They're looking to focus on Maria, but he's got his BKB ready. He's ready to pop it down. Take down Schofield. He fought back for that there on the tusk. Dead again.
Can't even get the Viper strike on the DK. The Lincoln's blocks it as well.
They can't find anything. And now Divide jumped once more. He also fought back for this. A double dieback on Heroic.
They're dancing on them, Owen. Truly dancing on them. Heroic is trying their best to find any type of kill, but they can't kill anybody. Box comes in, even Amar is able to get himself out of there. And out to the high ground.
Absolutely, yeah, Falcons.
Good God, these guys are just too good at controlling the pace, controlling the tempo. I mean, so there's one move, that triple kill from Whisper, but that was, 15, 16 minutes ago.
Heroic, they've tried to hit them this game with sort of a similar style as has worked in the past. They're going for this Yuma gyrocopter just with the hope that the game would get to a point where Yuma can try and turn things. The dive's coming in from Falcons. They jump onto the tier 4. Keith Jungles is gone. Whisper dead again. Falcons, they can continue the push on to take out the mid-racks.
It's impossible.
They don't have the buybacks available here on Heroic.
I think they tried this Viper play, but I don't think we're going to be seeing this one again, honestly. It falls off way too hard, even though he did get like some type of return.
He got a little bit of recovery off the dying point, but very quickly the game went back to a bad place for him.
And I'm missing a Divine offlane hero, like a Beast, an Axe, anything, right? Like any real offlaner traditional.
It's tough, right? When you end up in a hero like the Viper, where you get behind, it's just, you're not going to be able to initiate, you're not going to be able to survive, you're not going to have any sort of stun potential. It's what do you do in that situation, and it's looking rough for them this game.
And I think Falcons, it was a second pick Viper, and I think they actually exploited it super hard with their complete physical damage draft, high physical burst that can just pierce right so damn hard. And now it's another rush. Yeah, 30k lead.
Again, there's some crazy numbers on the board here. Falcons, Heroic.
You have to go for the rapier, right? You just
forget about that Satanic.
Yeah, no way.
Forget about the Satanic. Just get that relic ASAP. As you say, he's got the Demon Edge at the ready, so just needs that 1,000 or so more gold to buy the relic component.
He's selling the rest of it. You get full back, so he'll have it pretty much.
Yeah, very close.
He's
there will be a rapier in the game.
He's doing the Falcon Blade disassemble also, so you get the money back. So he should have it.
Okay.
Alrighty.
All right. He's done it before, Yuma.
Yeah.
And he's doing it today.
It wasn't a 30k deficit.
This is going to be quite the heavy one here for Yuma.
Yeah.
As his team continues to die out on the map.
He also did have a much better lineup that was well-rounded around
sure
him,
they
too.
can sort of buff him up. What does he have this time? Pretty much nothing. It really is. It's him against the universe. And this one, Yuma on his Jara. See if he gets the chance to do anything with this rapier, or if it's going to be rather underwhelming and they just lose the game. That's definitely one way it's more likely to go.
Especially the way that Falcons has played, right? They've just controlled. They've just been clean, methodical. They're not giving up these kills. Honestly, they're also just still so tanky.
They're chilling.
That I'm like, also, I'm looking at rapier hits. It's a 3,500 HP DK with 31 armor. It's a armor. They're not squishy. They're very durable.
Even the Enchantress, right? Yeah. Heals are going to still likely outdo a lot of that damage flying out from the Gyro.
AC on Amar, so armor to protect versus that flak as well, too. So, all right, let's see what they can do.
Okay, I mean, their next hope is if we can get the Axe Tusk. There's a lot of money away from them, yeah.
Calm down. He's going Vlads. He's trying to go for the small things.
Okay, yeah, I guess, trying to buy something that can at least make Yuma have some extra power in these fights.
Yeah, Yuma does need it. He does have the small bit of lifesteal, but any extra could be very helpful.
Sure.
Two.
Be able to clear out the banner.
I mean, they definitely know that he's going for his. I don't know if he showed it just yet, but okay, now I think he did. Actually, I don't know if he did.
I mean, they've got to expect it. And as we said, even if they don't, I don't know if they care. They're like, oh, that's nice, that's cute. The Gyro's got a rapier, but we don't care.
They're scared to kill this ward that's inside the base. Okay, they're going to be able to get it now.
We got to back up. Get another amplified damage rune here.
That's a scary one. It's got the 20 talent also. Quite a bit ago, of course. It's 22 now, but this damage, it's going to be pretty explosive if they do connect on pretty much anybody here with all that minus armor as well as we've been mentioning. All right, Yuma. Can you work your magic?
Can Whisper find that sort of crucial catch to start off the fight?
Someone's got to throw their life. Like two people even probably have to.
Somebody's got to go in.
Yeah, you have to throw your life away to just allow Yuma to get these free hits. Or I'd say free, but some attacks.
Falcons setting up on this bottom wave in case anyone is tempted.
Oh my God.
Heroic, they're respecting this potential.
Snaking is the same level as the Gyro.
The Courier, I mean, he's of course got the Aegis.
Skater.
He's able to get out with the time lapse. And now Amar's ready to roll in. Scott's in trouble, get caught by the Dragon Tail. Trouble will buy him a little bit of safety. The save here as well on towards Defy. The Wheel of Wonder thrown down. Defy will be able to force away. Schofield, he's gone though.
He's dead for 50. That's the Vlads also too, that extra bit of damage and lifesteal. Falcons.
Floods it once again, first Whisper down very low. Yuma trying to head forward to get some sort of damage in. Still can't quite fully approach them.
The spotlight's out.
All these Lincolns in play, it's just so hard to get a grab on anyone.
Lincolns, boxes, lotuses. I mean, he's got the lotus at the ready too with this lens, so could just get a block or reflect.
They're ready to get it onto the racks and look for the mega creeps. 10 seconds until they'll have Schofield back in. Skeeter, not a care in the world right now. They're trying to get the jump on him, but the silence getting reflected.
That lotus
has to back off.
Crit very ready to protect his allies.
Cool down, look at the fight. They'll get the shots on us. Skeeter, they'll be able to burst the Aegis out of him. But now Alana jumps in, takes Schofield out. Yuma is ready to get him with the BKB. They're going to try and go for a second attempt on the board. They get the stop, drop the bomb, save. It's there from Craig. He's going to be able to bail out the Weaver for now. Skeeter will be fine. They couldn't kill him a second time. They try and strike, but it was still within that last 30 seconds or so of the Aegis.
That's the BKB. That's Yuma's BKB usage. He has to be very careful how he steps up next. Could just get caught in a stun and burst down. saves are there from Crit every single time.
Every time, Amar is always ready to make that jump alongside Maureen. Look at the melee racks finished off. Divide taking heavy damage here from those impetuses. We'll get back towards the fountain, but the damage is done. Falcons, they've got the mega creeps in their favor now. Coming up to a 40k gold lead.
Over that 1k per minute. And they can now choose to pretty much approach this however they want on Falcons. They can play to sit back, wait for Roche, or they can just play to just go for this next fight and just end, because that BKB is still on this number 30 seconds. It looks like they're content with that.
And as we see from Amar, you know, they're not going to let this one fall into the hands of the Yuma Gyro. They're playing this one very safely, Falcons, and understandably so, because of the history between these two teams.
Yeah, we literally covered that.
Yuma Gyro, yeah.
Covered that one with 2 weeks.
Like they know. This is just full respect from Falcons. They might be 40k ahead, but they have to respect even that smallest possibility that Heroic around Yuma's Gyro with that rapier are able to pull off a comeback. So Falcons,
they'll probably just wait for the rush.
Indeed, they'll play as careful as possible here.
Yep.
They do not want to let this one slip away.
This is pretty clever here. When you're mega creeped, it's very difficult to make moves outside of the base.
If they find Skeeter, still very difficult and a risky part of the map to make such moves.
You also have like no information. Actually, you have no idea if there's 5 heroes if you do ever find someone.
Yeah, very much just sort of rolling the dice on whether or not they just walk into someone in that situation, and as it is, they don't. So no chance to catch Falcons by surprise.
What's the next pickup here? Titanic soon done there for Yuma.
That is very close. Very close indeed. So should have that ready for the next defense. Yeah, I'll be able to pick up that Reaver right now. So still able to make progress here, despite the complete domination from Falcons in this entire game. The fact that Yuma can kind of keep up there toe-to-toe with the cause of Falcons, it's something.
He at least has 2 ways to...
A very small something.
Yeah, he has 2 ways now he can walk in fights, right? One attempt he can go with BKB, the second one he can potentially walk in with Satanic, but as I said, Falcons playing it.
And he's got that level 20 talent. No, sure. Big one. Extra hits off with the flak, which everything from Heroic side of things really resides on.
I like looking at Schofield's inventory, by the way. That's how important the Vlad's was to him.
That was just...
he sold everything else.
Get rid of everything else.
Vlad's, I mean, it is really all of it. It's everything on Yuma. It's absolutely everything. That's you see, like the Solar Crest, 4 staffs, etc. Everything has to be put to buff him up.
Gonna see if they can head out.
Skater 25 has been hit, +1 attack. Snaking, level 21. You know, we keep talking about how farmed this Enchantress is, as he always is. He also is about to have Lincolns. There's going to be, what, triple?
How many have we got?
Yeah, triple Lincolns at least to go through, plus a Lotus. Whisper's got his work cut out for him to even catch a single target. Roche. All right, it's a long spawn.
I mean, we'll see if Falcons do indeed play that safe, that they do just wait for the Roche. You think they just might?
It's either play for the Roche or you camp on a high ground ward.
Sure, just in case you catch Heroic trying to make these sort of moves outside of the base.
But Heroic, it's so hard to walk out, right? Whenever you're versus Mega Creeps, you're just kind of stuck there, especially at these points in the game, so...
They're just gonna wait for that Roche.
They're completely just chilling out.
Wait for that Roche.
Lamar said it. He made the call.
They do not want to let this one slip away, Falcons. They want this one to be as sort of signed and sealed and guaranteed as much as possible before they approach that Ancient.
Hey, Curtis has always said it. The best way to play Dota is to make your opponent suffer. Absolutely.
I mean, this is the thing as well.
Literally suffering.
Game 1 of the best of 3. Yeah, no. Heroic, they've got to keep their cool.
Yeah.
Going into game 2. Something that I think, Heroic will be able to do. I can't imagine this is a team that gets sort of phased too much by being put in these sort of situations.
No, I think that it's just going to be a big adjustment for Divide. We're just not going to see anything like that again, right? He's just going to play the standard offlane Divide heroes. Even though this is a standard Divide hero, just not as a standard Divide meta.
Sure, and picked as early as it was.
And as early as it was, exactly. Yeah.
Potentially a chance if in a preferential situation, but that early pick definitely seeming to have been punished hard by Falcons.
I'm not saying it's his entire fault by any means, nor the pick, because Whisper also had this hard time versus the DK, but it's something that I think, it hurts them, because this is one of the harder games I've seen Divide have, in terms of even recovering, because he just hasn't been there.
Very much meant that any chance of recovery was on the shoulders of the Gyro.
Yep.
The Gyro alone. Zuma, after that Satanic, trying to get back to getting gained that Daedalus back.
Yep, he's got the small crit, but yeah, Roche, it's coming back up. Falcons completely ready for it. Amar being a ward even on top of that high ground. Now look at these score lines. I mean, Snay is just a bit obnoxious, right? Like, what do you ban? Is the Pugna? Is the Enchant? Is the Nagasard? Which one are you gonna want to play against? Because you're gonna play versus one no matter what happens.
It's difficult.
And he's gonna be probably this farmed. Maybe not this farmed, but because this is pretty absurd. He's almost the same as the Gyro, but very impressive. There it is. Skeeter, Aegis, she's Refresher plus that banner. They did pick up the banner, right? Yeah, they did. Okay.
Now, with those pickups, you've got to imagine that in the minds of Falcons, they're like, all right, this is 100% in the bag. We can go for the push. There's no risk left anymore.
Are they going to make a block of cheese, too? Because they have enough Orlux if they do.
I mean, are they close to any big pickups? I think the Lincolnser has just been done on Snake King. Other than that...
Crit almost has Ags if he wants to have some fun.
He might be saying, yeah, let me get my Aghanims online, boys. I think we shot this one down.
It might be time.
Okay.
But let's see.
You get a nice pickup on Yuma at least, right? In terms of neutral setups, not a bad neutral and enchantment for him. So he can kind of safely get that damage out?
Sure, I guess, yeah. I mean, it's one of the better ones. At least you can get a tier 4 for damage.
At least having another pickup on Devi. He's got the Atos. Obviously, there's a lot of ways to deal with that, but it's something else that might pop a Lincolns.
I mean, it all just comes down to it's literally all just the same thing. It really is. Like, can they get a lasso on a target? Can they actually kill them? Versus triple Lincolns, versus escape back, versus potential double box too. As we said, you know, crit. He might have the Aghanims also for that one.
Yeah, he's getting. He's changing his mind on it. He's thinking about the Eon disc as well.
Oh. The double box is always pretty high.
It does. Honestly, I would agree that the double box does feel like it could just guarantee them any fight. Not that any fight, maybe it's already guaranteed. You know. Maybe he's just sort of concerned of being the one getting jumped and wants to make sure that he will have the chance to get those clutch saves off, just in case one of the cores does get tripped up by Heroic being able to throw everything down upon them.
DK is holding the Refresher shard. Is he going to double stun someone?
Whisper. The front, he's in Maori. He'll get the jump. With the punch up from Schofield. Will of Wonder laid down. The BKB's out from Yuma. Amari's running and rolling. They take out Schofield. Schofield's got right back of it.
Whisper.
He'll get the BKB off. To back up towards the fountain. In fact, he's considering standing outside the base.
Oh my God,
damage
Whisper.
from Skidder nearly brings Whisper down. He's got to back up and heal up. Devi's in trouble. BKB comes to it. He's gone. They're getting hold up towards the fountain. At the box here to allow Marine to back up a little bit. The tier 4s are falling. Falcons, they played this one as safe as possible. But here, 45 minutes in, they're finally ready to shut this one down. The fortification will come out. Heroic, can they do anything here with the 4 of them? And Falcons, will they back up again? Probably not. I think Maori, he's ready to close this one up. He's trying, but he's going to get caught by the lasso. Doesn't matter. The back gets killed off. Yuma's trying to step up and get the damage off. It's over. It's finally over. Falcons, they've played it safe in the past. I think this is the safest. We've seen them play it fogged. They left no chance. Absolutely no chance for a slip-up of this game. And they managed to achieve the inevitable at the end of that build-up. An incredible lead they have. They get the win.
Heroic didn't get a kill for 29 minutes, I think it was. That was pretty crazy, the control that they did. And that was Whisper. He got a triple kill. He got a Blink Dagger. And after he got the Blink Dagger, they didn't get another kill. That's how controlled the game was by Falcons. Shoving waves in, just getting all the farm. Yeah, as clean as it comes.
I mean, absolutely. I think as you were saying as well, Falcons very happy to just try and do the best to just get in the heads of Heroic and be like, we've got this game. There's nothing you can do. And in that game, for the most part, there really was just nothing that Heroic could do to stop Falcons. Falcons, they'll take game 1.
It was a great game for all the Falcons fans out there. It feels like this Gyro last pick coming out. They were hoping that when the inevitable of a Yuma Rapier does come out, which is what he went for, that they were going to have that sort of magic come out for them again, T. But this time around, we saw Amar in the old chat. They were not going to fall for the same mistakes twice here. In a best of 1 maybe, but not in a best of 3.
I mean, you know, buying a Rapier, you're meant to be punishing teams that have bad decisions, you know, bad scaling, and, you know, it comes to that one fight. But the way that Falcons played, that doesn't really happen. If they get a 20, 25k lead, they're going to choke you out to get that 30k lead, their 40k lead, do everything they need to do to ensure that one single little Rapier. Congrats, your Gyrocopter got a Rapier, but you have 3,000 more gold on him compared to your Enchantress. Like, it's not that impactful, and yeah, Falcons just see ya. game one, Heroic, it wasn't even a fair display from them.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think they got out-strategized flat out. And I think they took the wrong approach against Falcons. I don't think against this team you try to rush them down. I think you need to pick teamfight. You need to pick heroes that can scale and play Dota. Because I'll be honest, you can't beat Malrine mid. Now, he might not beat you, but you can't beat him. He's too good at pulling waves and abusing aggro and shenaniganizing in every way, shape, and form. You can't do it, so you should stop trying. And you should pick heroes that scale well, because then you have a chance.
I mean, I kind of agree. At the same time, though, I think if you are going to pull this type of strategy where you do Viper and Batrider to try to win the lanes, you need to make sure that you also count in these shenanigans, right?
Yeah.
You have to take everything into account. You need to park your Tusk next to the Batrider early on, something like that, so that you make sure that Batrider has the lane. Because if he doesn't get the lane he needs to be useful in the game, then this happens, and you lose your mid tower at 6 minutes, and suddenly you have bad Viper draft, right? And you're gonna get choked out by Falcons. I mean, it doesn't matter that you have a rapier.
In the draft, we were talking about how the Heroic have to win their lane. So I think we're being quite polite on the Viper pick. It's not picked in this position. Again, I looked at the stats. It was only 3 times it's been drafted in the second phase, and it's just not a thing that really happens in competitive drafting, and especially in tier 1 drafting. And clearly, Heroic, they believed in it, but it just did not work. They got to this position through the big entry to fights, the confidence of everyone overlapping each other, the pick-off potential. You pick a Viper like this, it's too much cooking in the theory, but in the execution, it's just, you're playing against Falcons. You need to be so much more, just present in the lanes.
It felt like we saw a glimmer of what that Viper Tusk lane could have done, though. It felt like it all fell apart around that rune 5. It felt like a little bit of a bloodbath, and so the Viper wasn't off to a good start. But if it was more of a neutral beginning, if those runes just had been split easily and they went into the lane, you could see the damage that could come out from a Tusk and Viper.
Yeah, I think they killed the Weaver somewhat early in the lane, and I don't think Devi had bad net worth at all. Like, he had a pretty solid start. I think the real issues start whenever you counterpick this bad against his DK, and DK has more CS. Not even before the kill, he has more CS at 6 minutes. Like, that's crazy. And then on top of that, Malrine is saying this. He has a microphone. He's saying, "Yo, I'm winning mid. I have DK ult." And they come mid and they kill a bunch of heroes. And not only that, but I think they're not trying to push it too far. Like, they realize, okay, Ice Path, Snowball used. At any point, they can TP out, and they're like, all right, see ya. I'm out. I got what I came for. We got a bunch of pressure. We forced a ton of rotations mid, and snaking TPs out, too, in perfect timing. And I think that shows that, okay, yeah, they want to push that aggression. They want that tower. They want the pressure, but they're also not going to overplay their hand. It's very well executed.
Yeah, I would even say that this whole draft from Heroic is almost designed to counter Dragonite in both the side lanes and not caring about the offlane drag. Even maybe the Gyrocopter as well. Like, if you look at it here, if you think that the DK loses the matchup to Viper, Batrider, and Gyrocopter, which in theory it should, right? Then this is a good draft. If they get their lanes correct and they win their lanes, they can snowball really hard. And DK will not have a lane. But, I mean, against Falcons, you're showing your hand so early, right? You're showing the Viper, you're showing the Batrider, and it's easy for Falcons to think, how are we going to deal with this? We're going to pick the Weaver instead, right? We're going to pick the Eng to make sure that this doesn't happen, right? So he can commit and help the DK if necessary. And suddenly this draft is just not that impressive anymore. It's almost like they revealed their hand a bit too early in this case.
When I do look at this draft, though, yeah, we've talked about and picked apart what Heroic kind of faltered with, but something that is more enjoyable potentially to talk about is this Ringmaster. When we saw it yesterday for Aurora, we felt lackluster. Where is this hero? Why is it being picked up? Finally, we get to see it again, and it was just so beautifully played.
Yeah, it was very aggressive on the map, right? He was constantly running around, trying to set up for these moves, and critically, when Falcons are able to, win their lanes or at least free up the supports, you are going to see a lot of highlights where, things are happening. I do think, though, in some of these highlights, we are going to see Crit just missing his ultimate, but that's not the player issue. I think just the spell is just pretty shit. But that aside, yeah, of course, with the whip, the escape pack, and the daggers, they are really, really potent in the correct hands, and yeah, Crit was doing a very good job on that.
Oh, you didn't whiff that one.
Yeah, he was already set up with a control, but they also at the top fight in the previous highlight package, they had a Gyrocopter, he used the ult, used the whip, Gyro didn't get hit by it, used cooldown, but yeah, the ultimate, who cares, whatever. But everything else, very good. 4-2-19, one of the few Ringmaster players out there in the world, and showing that it can still be good.
Yeah, I mean, they're so solid. And I think it does go back to the draft. Not to, beat a dead horse, but like I think they need to not go so all in. You can't be picking triple range cores. I think that even on its own is just sort of forbidden. Nobody ever really does this because it just opens up too many weaknesses in your draft. you just don't pick triple range core ever. Like you auto lose when you do this.
What do you mean going all in? Like, what are they going all in on?
I think it's sort of what Misery said about going all in on these lanes. Like they're really like there's a first pick DK, and there's sort of this thinking sometimes that okay, they first pick this hero, we need to make sure he can't lane, right? They don't get away with this first pick DK. Nah. But like they didn't, right? They picked the triple counter pick and they still lost the lane. Like so now your draft is trash and you didn't win the lane. So what the heck are we doing here?
Yeah, it's kind of true, right? Okay, he actually had the best lane out of all three. The course, funny enough, that's the hero you're trying to counter, right? But I would like to see them go back to some of the stuff they did yesterday, because I felt like yesterday they actually looked like a solid team with solid drafts, you know, and they were composed, they were just playing their own game. I think they might have gotten into the over preparation for Falcons, like, oh, we need to really do something extraordinary to beat this team. And yeah, this is just not the way to do it, I think.
I mean, a lot of people, community often forget about Skidder, and clearly that's what happened with Heroic, right? In their prep, they were thinking about shutting down the Marine, forcing the DK to mid, and then you get the counter picks, and then again you get the Ench from snaking. I think he had one of the highest, longest wins on the win streaks on the hero. Then you have Skidder Weaver, which is one of his best heroes in a completely free lane. And it does, yeah, sure, we talk about Marine winning the lane, but you cannot just give access to multiple PI winners the ability to just have a completely free lane. It's just logically just a really weak attempt of trying to beat Falcons. They've misread the book completely, and in this break, they're going to have to identify that. We saw earlier in the tournament, Mouse, they very beautifully identified it and then made it a 3-game series. Heroic now need to do that as well.
Yeah, Tundra did it earlier when we even had Ari come to the panel. He stated it himself. There's that fine balance in this 10-15 minutes where you have to talk, yes, a little bit about what went wrong. That's what we've identified, and what you can do moving forward, which is what I'm hoping you guys can give me some more answers here. When you put out examples, what are some of the heroes that could be back on the table for the side of Heroic?
I mean, I think things like the Mars they've gone back for.
Hello.
I think Whisper playing sort of more either stock standard heroes like like a Puck or like a Leshrac, heroes that he's gone for quite a few times. Heroes that give you more of that just sort of standard damage team fight. I think to me the biggest thing is just this Viper. I think if you replace that Viper with say like a Mars or a Night Stalker, a hero that Device had a lot of success with, just sort of a normal standard offline, because I think they've had great lanes. They're not some aggro pulling team. They're not, or like wave pulling team really. They're not losing their offlane in mid lane. So I think, and the lane wasn't even a problem. Getting ultra counterpicked. Like the Viper is playing against the two hardest lane counters in the game to Viper, and they still had a good lane. So to me, hey guys, we're clearly pretty good at laning. So let's pick an offlaner that gives us a little more oomph in the mid game.
I would also put it like this: instead of like picking these range cores, like we get instead, but I mean, pick more team fight early on. Like pick more solid heroes as a foundation for your draft, and then let the cheese come later, right? Like the flexes come later. Let it be like your absolute last pick or perhaps 16, 17, but don't reveal it so early on. But just make sure that
eta spandukna dina kardus, Pak.
before you go into these creative ideas.
I'll keep it simple. I just want like a Beastmaster. I feel like Beastmaster
Yeah,
is a pretty
Abdi.
good solution, right? It's really strong in the offlane. It forces
Tadi
the
nelpon.
line of draft in the mid lane. It can be super explosive. Whisper carried them in previous games on the hero. Why not? A little bit of Whisper, a little bit of Beastmaster, maybe a Centaur. There's so many options. So many options. But just forget about game one. That never happened.
Yeah, I mean, I think not mentioned what Ari said about about sort of fixing things in between games and using that time properly. And I think Heroic are capable of doing that. I think they're a very good team. I think some teams are just a big glob of players. I think they're actually a team and they buy into each other's ideas and they trust each other. And I think when you have that in between games, you have more of an ability to play back. And I think Heroic absolutely has the ability to look at this game and say, hey, we all leaned on this. It was a bad idea. Cass goes back and says, hey guys, my bad. I thought this would work. It didn't work. That's okay. We're going to try a different approach, and this game is going to look different, right? They're going to have the opposite picking order. It's a new game. It's a new style. They don't even need to think about this last draft because, like Ari said, it's a different draft order. Who even cares? Go next.
Yeah, we also had Yuma after that win yesterday join us, right? I like to bring up the words that the players give us, but he's saying that Devi wasn't really that sort of vocal person anymore. Who do you think is going to be leading the charge in this talk? It felt like, if you had it gone a year ago for that iteration of Heroic, yeah, we very easily could have sat here and be like, Devi's doing that.
I think critically it's just
Eta kayak bonusan teh hanya wal.
conclusion to the game. You can't allow one player to overthink what just happened, because if they think one thing, another player thinks another thing, and you don't really come to a quick conclusion, that can also impact your next game. So I think as long as they have one good conclusion, one good answer, and then you have one player with the confidence to step up and go, I can do this, I can beat Falcons, then you move to that idea. You can already see on the camera there, you had Cass talking to Whisper.
Kadinya weh.
Bat versus DK, the matchup that maybe the Bat should win.
Pulangan.
Can inspire Whisper for
Hah?
a certain logic and bring Whisper more into the game that way. That
Kilo
can also
7.
be, but it's just everyone has to agree on one.
Ukuran si Kapu.
I agree with that. I think most likely they're gonna come to the same conclusion that they're gonna try something else.
Kapu ukuran.
I hope that they don't double down on this thing where they're like, if we just won the mid lane, we should have done this instead, this little thing, and then we would have won all 3 lanes, and then it would have worked. If they become stubborn about that, I think Falcon's just gonna run away with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think they are smart enough to realize that it is a problem. I think when you play these games where you can't do anything and you sit there and you just get massacred for 45 minutes, they squeeze you into your base, you feel like, okay, this was just hard to play. It felt hard.
Nuhun ya.
Your feelings, trusting your gut in these things, trusting what your teammates say, and listening and really just like sort of perceiving the situation, I think they're gonna come to the right conclusions and they're gonna have a way better chance.
Only game at number 1 here. Best of 3s go the distance. Heroic, they're gonna have to bring themselves together because
Enggak.
We're playing patch quiz.
Ini kan ya kan ini streaming nih kan. Yang lain ini. Maksudnya ini kelihatan kok di layar ayat tuh ada ini. Gitu. Sengaja ya lihat ini.
No longer grant experience.
No, it's false.
It's true.
It's true.
They used to give experience. Bounty Hunter track no longer reduces armor. It's a tough one. It's true. It is true. Correct. Silencer's last word now also silences upon the spell.
I mean, I'll just stick to the fact it's probably true.
It's false.
It's false. Okay.
Shadow Demon's Disruption Illusions now have plus 15 attack speed.
False?
It is false. Fixed Helm of the Dominator not working on Undying Zombies.
That is a good idea. I would like to have it. I think it's true.
It is true. So now it should work, so you can. Buyback prevents gaining unreliable gold, creeps, neutrals, etc. until your normal respawn time finishes. That is true. Gem of True Sight no longer drops on death if the carrier is killed by Roshan.
No longer drops. I think it's false.
It is false.
Yeah, it should be just stupid.
That's it.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I liked it.
Alright, when you're all done, you can get back to your team if you want. Thank you.
Falcons versus Heroic will shortly have the draft, but before that, Misery, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Which hero on Falcons would you never give them in a Dota 2 game?
Huskar.
Which other hero would you never give them in a Dota 2 game?
Maybe Chen.
Which other hero would you give them in a Dota 2 game? I need one hero specifically.
Like Naga?
Which other hero would you get the right answer?
What are you fishing for here?
I'm fishing for a DK, brother. All right.
DK.
Sure.
I think you can give DK.
You can give him a DK.
Just give DK DK, but you play a normal game. You don't try to beat him in lane. I think the other approach that teams had with picking tide hunters and stuff is better.
Yeah.
Because then the carry DK feels worse, and then you don't care about the carry DK because you get a free tide lane.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, something like that I think is better, and then you can kind of play against it.
Again, you had very good answers. I do respect the early answers, but there's something about the DK. It's like Falcons just know how to play against all the counters as well. Like if there was to be a tide, they'd wait for a silver edge, they'd add some break. But
Sure. I mean, would you rather play against some Huskar, Marine? They beat the Brood, they beat the Doom. They don't care about anything.
yeah, that's actually the only reason I haven't pushed to go from rank 500 to a pro player is because I don't want to draft against Falcons. I don't want to play against them.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to draft against Falcons right now, but
No, not at all. Yeah.
Heroic has to.
Oh well, listing some of the heroes that we mentioned, we do of course have the Naga, the Husker.
Yes,
the
this time
Dragon
they have
Hunter.
4 bans as well.
They do. That is also quite nice, and that does mean they will be second pick in the draft, so they will get the beautiful last pick, the overall 24, which was for some reason so instrumental in the last series. Not so much this time around.
But second pick has won a lot of games, I believe, in this tournament. It does feel like it's a little bit easier. Like just the double pick second phase feels a bit simpler. The last pick is there's so many good cheese heroes right now.
Falcons.
But they give the Chen. Okay, so different approach.
But already, we know Falcons are one of the best Chen teams in the world, if not the best Chen team in the world. So against Chen, it's respect the laning phase, but also make sure that you're not oversubscribing to the auras in 20 minutes.
Yeah, so the reason why I don't like giving Falcons Chen is because if you are going to give it at least, then you need to respect certain strategies. I think the Abaddon Chen is absolutely disgusting. I think some of the stuff they have with multiple tanky heroes plus the Chen, it could also be, what's the other hero they always play with Chen? Like Timbersaw, like just these heroes that get extra tanky with a Chen, right? And have this 25 minute timing where they can just actually go high ground. I think that's the real issue, where everyone's unkillable.
I mean, critically, you just need to make sure that you can try and threaten the Chen in lane so the creep doesn't 1v2 the lane. And then also, when you do get to the mid game, you've maybe shut down the mid, you've killed the offlane, there's some type of only farm option available for Falcons. And, Schofield Clock is a classic hero with the battery assault running at, Chen. If you ever get him inside a cogs, you do have kill threat depending on the offlane pick. Then you still have access to a potential... Okay, Gyro's banned actually, but... Okay, we'll see where Yuma wants to go. I was going to allude to Gyrocopter, but...
I hope this is like a casual clockwork, in the sense that we just want to play this hero on Schofield right now into the Chen. Feels like a good matchup. It's not a setup for like another Viper, Because it could be, one of those like a clock Viper lane, But I hope it's more sophisticated than that.
Of course, right, we'll need to reveal in the next phase. But again, against Chen, I'm always a fan of like a Mars as well, for example. I know there might be some damage problems, but you lock in like Mars, Snapfire, a Snapfire, but Mars in the offlane, team fight. As long as you force the Chen to drag into early fights, it feels pretty good. Pangolier, also not a bad option. Just being able to be chaotic, has the wave clear with the swash. Eventually you have Ags and Bashers and all this, nonsense of the late game.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good approach now. I mean, Penguin should have a pretty decent lane against the Chen. Not going to get punished too hard. They also ban out the Monkey King in this case. They also have the potential, of course, of putting the Pangolier mid, right? So that flexibility is there.
But they still have damage problems. They have the control of clock division. They have the also vision through Pangolier's positioning of Rolling Thunder, and also the control. But they don't have the kill threat.
They definitely need to pick up a lot of damage in their next 3 picks. There's no doubt about it. And they need to pick damage that is not one tank and then you're out of damage. You need consistent damage that goes on through the fight, right? Like turrets.
I would love Falcons to bring back the Grimstroke that we've been seeing them play, right? Against the Rolling Thunder, the Clockwork, you have quite a obvious initiation, the hook shot, the jump, and then it just really amplifies the fight. It just punishes.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it could easily be that. It could also be Sky, but I think if there was a Grimstroke pick, it might be this one. Yeah.
I am not going to say anything until they pick Grimstroke.
And what if they don't pick Grimstroke? Yeah, any other ideas? I mean, I think I could see you being right here, for sure. The question is if they feel like Sky is just...
Well, I have to speak, because I would get fired if I didn't speak for the rest of the draft. But they go for Sky off me.
I think the Sky is just like, it adds a little bit more damage. I think it has better synergy with Chen compared to Sky. I mean, sorry, Grimstroke. Also, the Sand King Skywrath combo is just so strong. Kills any hero, pretty much.
That's fair. As long as it has kill threat, that's all I really care about. And You know, Ancient Seal, we talk about it a lot, but it is very, very potent. Queen of Pains, Pangoliers, they're heroes that want to start the fight and then start using a couple extra spells after the fact, right? So if you do lock on that Ancient Seal or have a quick Burrow Strike from a Sand King, it is so, you know, fight-turning that Falcons, they're kind of inviting Heroic, please try and kill us. If you do, we're going to, you know, disengage with a Sand King, heal ourselves, or put a pipe down with Again, Heroic critically need damage in their lineup now.
They really do. And this double pick is very difficult, right? Because you also need to watch out that you don't get too counterpicked. You don't reveal too much. Your lanes also need to be stable. So there's a lot of boxes you need to tick to be able to pick the right heroes here.
And of course, Falcons haven't shown their carry yet, so Heroic was to think about, you know, like a potential, you know, Slaughter that we've seen other teams running to try and give some true sight on the Sand King bursting the Scarif Mage quickly. You are then going to get counterpicked, but instead, Heroic, they opt just to go for a bit more survivability, and they do this thing where they do late pick supports quite often, and with a 24 pick in the draft, Abaddon could technically be the 5 KG he's been playing some Omni. He's been playing some Omni Knight 5. Like, I'm not excited by it, but there is a world in which it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also thinking the same thing, that it's not really traditional to pick your course like this, but I kind of like the hero choices. In general, I think you take away the Abaddon that I was talking about, Abaddon Chen, this combination. You also get the Leshrac, which has a lot of damage. You get the Abaddon to play around certain timing with the Radiance, things like that. But you are potentially revealing your 3 cores, and you don't really have flexibility here. Like, you cannot put any of these heroes support. Lesh support is not the same Lesh as a core. It doesn't actually deal that much damage. It's more of a cheesy and like a roaming around and getting solo picks. But in 5v5 doesn't offer much. Abaddon plus 5 with clock 4, I'm not really feeling it either.
Not at all, but I do feel like it's just a cause. There is a world where it could happen based on Heroic, but that aside, Heroic at least are trying to present a lineup that is playing into Falcons, right? It's the fact that Leshrac with the early Blink Dagger, Pangler as well, they can go so crazy, but Skidder goes for the Ursa. I love when I see Ursa when you have very clear combo break style lineups, right? Ursa's able to frontline. What does he really care here? Like, sure, an early game Leshrac can run around in the jungle and kill him a couple times, but, you know, he gets the Battle Fury Blink and one more item. He doesn't care about anything now in this game.
Sure. I mean, I think Pangolier is gonna be, if he's offlane this game, which looks like it, most likely, he's gonna have an okay time here. I mean, Ursa will free farm, sure, but Pangolier will also have a decent lane.
It's more about the diffusal of Pangolier, the blink of the Leshrac, syncing these 2 item timings on the respective heroes to then break open the game. If they buy these early skirmish items but don't get kills, it doesn't matter what they buy because you know Falcons are going to scale. And when we talk about the tankiness, you're talking about Chen Aber, Chen whatever, you have Chen Ursa, and then you have Sanking, who also very quickly will buy a BKB, Scarif Mage, depending on what facet, he's also tanking. Like, there is a world in which Heroic don't do enough damage. The only damage dealer that we wanted the damage dealer, the only one that's been picked quickly is Leshrac.
What about the offlane weapon master here? And then you put the Leshrac carry with Abaddon.
Sure, I mean, realistically for Heroic,
we're looking at something like that. I think
Enigma, Viper, Venom, they need any of this disgusting stuff for the Vi.
I mean, Falcons are banning out the Troll, which makes sense. And now also anticipating that there is some kind of shenanigans going on with this Abaddon. I just am not a big fan of the idea of Abaddon 5. I played a bit in my pubs just to actually try not to play against Abaddon, but it doesn't feel good.
Casting shield, like getting so close to your ally, and then suddenly there's Sand King there. He's
and there's no fighting. There's no real purpose, right? But I do think what else could they do if they, let's say they just put the Pangolier offlane, Lesh mid, and then pick another carry? What carry could that be? Troll gets banned out here.
How does Medusa fare for Heroic, where it just you scale quite nicely? I know Ursa can eventually get MKB, but it's too slow.
Yeah, you just got nothing going on, right? You have, I don't know, you have no playmakers, you have no real stuns. What do you have, actually?
We're then trying to find a hero that can do something but also scale, but then you're trying to fix so many different things here.
Yeah.
But with the Doom ban, it feels like they're indicating the Abba is just going to be the carry, right? One of the better counsels for the hero.
Okay, so another point, Lynn. What about the plus 5? Is there a plus 5 that can upset this Ursa kind of situation we got, where he's kind of good against Lesh? He's going to have a really fast Battle Fury. Is there some kind of...
I'm just going to wait and see, mate, I'll be honest.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just wait and see. Yeah. How about Falcons then? They need a hero for Amar.
off-lane pick to kind of tie together the lineup, have an additional layer of fight and chaos. Again, the Mars is still available. It's a kind of a classic at this stage. Outside of that, he's been most of the heroes that he's been playing recently have been banned out, and just goes for the Mars.
Mars still in the pool, yeah.
Yep.
It's pretty much the last Mars heroes, the traditional ones that were in the pool. So
a couple weeks ago it was first pick, now it's last pick for them, and they do ban out the Meepo. So they are very much respecting on Falcons. Abba going to 5 and a new carry is in play. So that is a statement from Falcons that they just don't care about Abba being carry. They feel like the Ursa's going to outscale them. The pacing of the game is all going to be disrupted. You know, sure, Abba go to carry, but you still need a Radiance, a Manta, a Blink. When all this comes into play, you're then running into the Chen, the Sanity, all was there.
The entirety of the line. Look at how good Falcons are at getting the heroes for themselves, right? The strong, solid lineup with team fight, with stuns, with damage, with scaling. They have everything. Auras. They have Roshan, towers, like they have literally everything you need in a Dota draft. And when you look at Heroic, it's just a lot more lackluster. So I think this last pick is very difficult. I'm curious to see what they can think of here to upset this right now.
I mean, they have 7 seconds to decide, right? This is a game 2 elimination game if they are to lose, and they go for a support pick in the final phase. It is not often that you use the 24 pick, the last pick in a draft, to go towards a support, let alone a position 5. But is it enough? Don't think it is. I am not inspired by it. I feel like Heroic have put themselves in this heavily tempo position where, putting it bluntly, it's Whisper and Divide versus the world. If the two playmakers of mid and off lane can bring so much chaos and life to the game, slot Yuma in behind with, suddenly grabbing 2-3 items, sure, but to reliably do that against Falcons is so difficult.
I think from the position they were in, this is one of the best options to pick a really strong 5 that kind of plays with the similar timing as the rest of the draft, right? Right now, you actually do have pretty strong timings. If you get to Radiance, the Pucknam Order level 4, you get the Leshrac, Blink Dagger, you get to Pangolier Diffusal Blade, you actually have really strong timing where Falcons are not yet quite online, right? And if you can start winning some fights there is a chance that they can get ahead enough that they can control the map as well.
But it can be difficult when you're picking the Pugna into the Mars. He's going to take the Bloodsport facet, you're going to lose that vision. So a lot of the big saving mechanics that we often see throughout previous games isn't really going to be in play here for Heroic. So again, it's individual skill. They're going to have to kind of show up in this game and really just show off their ability to kind of play into I'm going to be honest, a losing draft. But if they win it, it's, hats off to them. It's incredible to be able to do that against them. But it's all about the lanes, it's the tempo. Bring life to the first, 10-15 minutes. Maybe contest, an earlier rune than possible. Make sure you contest the 7-minute wisdoms.
Yeah, I mean, I think let's see how the game plays out. But if Falcons just win this game, like kind of similar styles of game 1, it just shows again how the structure of Falcons is so strong. The way they're able to always get the heroes they want. And this really strong lineup. I do think that Heroic, they have some things going for them and some timings.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking at Schofield as well, right? On the clockwork, you often free yourself up quite nicely in the game. Why not run in, get a couple ancient blocks, don't allow Marine just to completely free farm. Maybe even KJ can do that on the Pugna, quickly run in, just stop the efficiencies of early game on Marine, try and get a bit more economy through the Lesh and the Pango. And again, there is an option, but it's so much on the kind of just the not allowing the previous game to knock them. They need to make sure they are fully focused this game.
I think it's a good point that if you shut down the Sand King with the support running mid and you enable the Leshrac to start snowballing, suddenly the Ursa is firing Battle Fury, the Mars is sort of a slow hero, he needs Blink Dagger, right? The Chen needs time as well. Suddenly there is a situation where you can run away with this game and Whisper can go ham. So that might be actually the key, where you don't allow Sand King to lane well mid, and you also don't allow him to farm those gigantic stacks that we've seen before.
And luckily, the game is ready, so please, Owen and Fault, take it away.
Thank you very much, T. Yes, getting ready for the action here of Game 2 between Heroic and Falcons. We've seen the lineups, we've seen the drafts here. Do you favour Heroic a little bit better as opposed to what they were able to pull off in Game 1 or not able to pull off, essentially?
Maybe a little bit better.
A little.
Maybe a little bit better, but also it still looks the same formula, right? Falcons, 3 tanky strength cores. They have some sustain healer behind it. Then they have a bursty support as well that follows up. It looks like their usual archetype.
Absolutely. Well, Falcons incredibly dominant in that Game 1. They made sure they did everything to not let that slip away, close it up as safely as possible. Heroic, they couldn't turn it around. Let's see, can Heroic do a little bit better in Game 2? Singapore. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, getting into the action of this second game of the series. Heroic, they had a rough one in the first one. Maybe this time round against Falcons, they can fare a little better. A change up from their side of things, right? We're getting some, I'd say, more reliable expected stuff, right? Divide this time on the Pango. He's going to have more impact, without a doubt, right?
For sure. That for sure. The big thing I am going to look at, though, is just Whisper having a better time, because he did get this Bat Rider pick versus the DK. Maureen manipulated wave. He won that matchup pretty damn hard. That can't happen again. So I want to see Whisper get enabled a lot more, because I felt like Falcons, they just enabled Maureen more than the opposite side. I didn't see the rotations coming in. I didn't see them trying to help Whisper as much as we did see Falcons look to just enable that DK. So let's see what we do get down. And I do have to mention some interaction stuff that can come out here. I had to point it out to you what they picked it, because they did pick the Pugna into the Mars. You can't life drain in Arena.
I mean, if it still is like that.
It was like that last week.
Okay, we'll have to watch out for that interaction.
You legit cannot, it just doesn't work.
Okay, even if you caught that with them.
I think you might be able to, in some instances, click on like allies with life drain, but you cannot click enemies with life drain if you're inside or outside, even if you have vision. I don't know why, it's an interaction, you know, it's one of those things, so we'll have to see if it does trip up KJ.
Yeah. Because overall, outside of that in mind, do you like that they went for this? You know, we saw obviously with the Bands, Falcons, they were maybe expecting Heroic to switch some stuff up, come in with the core as that last pick. Maureen, he's going to get quite a hot start there, killing off King Jungles, as we're talking about King Jungles on the Pugna. But yeah, going for this Pugna as a last pick, right? A very strong hero by all means, but not really one that we see get left into the draft and get allowed to be picked at the end of a draft, which I could only imagine is because Falcons, they don't really care if there's a Pugna in this game.
I think that's really the case. They were more worried about this type of flex than that could came out. I think just like the panel was saying, they revealed their hand, Heroic, pretty much completely when they picked those three. That was going to be their cores, unless maybe that Troll was going to be something they can sneak in. So I still think Pugna can fit in almost any single draft, so I'm not going to say it's like a bad Pugna game by any means, because he does have Decrep versus the Earth, so that can be super valuable. The Nether Ward can be very good versus Sand Kings when he's revving up the Epi. If he rev Epis, it actually can cancel it before you get the blink off in some situations if he's in that tree line. So there's definitely some merits to the Pugna. I had to mention that specific interaction because it really can just ruin your game plan a lot of times.
Absolutely.
I want to heal a target that's getting focused, so.
Well, looking at him at the moment, you know, one of the strengths of Heroic's lineup, as we saw, you know, with their draft, confidently just putting it out as that first pick, despite, as you were mentioning, the talent and the fact there was a Chen in the game, something that Clocks don't always want to play into. You know, Schofield on the clockwork. You know, over the last month or so, we've seen him have incredible performances on the clock.
He absolutely has. And Crit, he's going to go for the pressure onto him, but Crit was able to step out of those cogs. And he's going to be probably the one to watch of how much he can disrupt and make these early game moves to get them off to that start. Because if you do look at Heroic's draft, it is a strong early game draft. If they can get these lanes to look good, they absolutely can fight early. They have a very strong fighting lineup. It's just, Falcons is very good at not giving these fights.
Schofield, they might be giving up a kill here. That final bit of damage flying through. That's going to be Schofield gone. No salve will save him.
He blood grenaded the floor as well. So he wasted the blood grenade and then salved as well and died. So minus quite a bit of gold there for Schofield.
Was he doing that to try and deny himself? Can you deny yourself blood grenade damage? You can't. So I
think he missed like
a blood grenade in frustration.
Yeah.
But indeed, the blood grenade gone, his life gone as well.
Losing blood grenades early is pretty painful. It's expensive, of course. You lose HP, and also, yeah, you don't have kill threat that you may have in the later one. And we did have to mention, of course, you know, Maureen getting that first blood is pretty important in this game because he is versus this Lesh counterpick matchup that is much harder of a matchup than that DK was versus the Bat. But Maureen, he does what he does. This is like similar. Like, this is his dream style of being able to cut waves when he has to get to that point. And he might not even have to get to that point versus the Lesh Rack. He might just be able to play the lane head up.
So far, that a little bit of a lead for Whisper, but as you said, we might see Maureen be able to catch up.
Yeah. I mean, either way, he's going to at some point have Ancient stacks, right? There's a Chen, so Chen can just send the creep back, start getting those stacks if they're ready, and he'll be enabled off that. I think every game that I watch Maureen, I don't think there's ever been a game that he's had like a post, like 11-minute blink dagger, right? Like it's usually like 10 minutes, he's got the blink done, he's making moves around the map, so I would imagine that that's going to be enabled again.
Self Skeeter. Trying to chase down Divine.
Getting the stacks built up.
Oh, that's the Swashbuck. He's going to have to TP out away from this Ursa. So having to back up to the tower. Just get away from the claws of Skeeter.
Not me.
They've still got a tango left or so Device should be able to stick around.
Yeah, a difficult lane, but they set themselves up for this when they did pick these double melees, and when they have this Clockwork plus this Pango pickup, you know it's going to be this lane. So Skeeter absolutely set up for success here with the backup of Crit. we didn't talk about that, but it's become so common for Falcons to do that I didn't actually mention it, but Crit's playing the safe lane, right? Snake is playing the off lane. Every time they have Chen and they see a matchup that they want to play like this, they switch it, so.
And, you know, talking about this bottom lane, obviously King Jungle's on the Pugna. He might be in trouble here. Shield will come out, so Yuma's able to keep him safe. So in terms of the laning phase, has the Pugna pick, is that going to offer a lot of potential for Yuma to have a pretty safe lane?
Not really, because of the switch up that Falcons did. I think the Chen moving down there, if the Sky was down there, but the fact that the Chen goes down there and he just burns the mana of the Pugna, you're not actually doing the same thing, because playing Skywrath versus Pugna lane is pretty awful. You really can never trade as effectively because he just hits you more effectively of 0 armor and blasts you in the Netherward. Sure. But yeah, with the Chen, it changes things up a lot. And I guess still farming well, but Amari's getting free farm.
Yeah, because what was Falcons with their supports, they have that flexibility. You wouldn't imagine that Heroic, there was just never a possibility of them also making that switch up with their supports. No, they wouldn't do that.
It's almost never that I see Schofield swap his position. He almost always is going to be playing paired up with Devi, even if it is going to be some like dual lane, sacrifice, kind of sacrificial lane, as we are seeing that one in this.
It's going to be a slow start here for Devi. Suffering the most on the CS so far out of the cores.
We are seeing stacks from Schofield.
Whisper. The kill here with the Edict. Now tell you what, it's going to be close to getting it. The Burrow Strike is there though.
Whisper.
Marion will get away.
Crit might be able to get him.
I mean, blood grenade's coming in.
2 points in the queue.
Whisper's in trouble. And Crit turning up with a big TP there. I mean, going from nearly dying on the Sand King Marion. Backup comes in from Crit. Ends up being Whisper that gets punished.
Amar?
Yuma's trying to go for this.
Now stay.
Both of them should be fine. Just not quite enough in the tank at the moment from Yuma and King Jungles to get these kills.
Split second, little plays there coming in. I mean, this Burrow Strike to disjoint, get away from that Leshrac, and then Crit. I always like to highlight this too because it's different plays. I think Crit is definitely the best Skywrath at the moment, and he understands how to play. Goes for the null early and goes for the 2-1 build. I saw Schofield yesterday. He did like the 0-1-1 build, which was very weird. Having this extra damage on Q is actually massive in lane phase. I mean,
it's going to definitely cause the Heroic to have sort of second thoughts if they want to try and go for those dive plays early on. If they know Crit's got the TP ready to turn up and turn things around.
Ancient Seal is very devastating as well when paired with Sanking. It's very similar to the Boomerang that we were seeing literally picked every single game from Falcons. Yes, it's not AoE, but the amplification gets way higher as the game progresses. So the combo, I mean, the Sky plus Sanking is going to be killing heroes pretty easily if they are able to get this type of setup early on.
Whisper. Still able to get a lot, of course, from the lane. As we're stopped, Marion getting some from the jungle as well, and indeed, there's so much damage that Crit's able to throw down. And enabling Skita to get involved in this early action, and Devi's start continuing to get slowed down.
I think this hero is honestly a bit underrated right now. I think it has slipped under the radar for a very long time. I've been seeing Crit played so much. I've been loving it as well too, but just the way that you can play super aggressively and what Ancient Seal can do, it just makes any lane kind of a kill threat. It's really, really powerful. As Whisper will get the luxury to go back and farm those stacks with the regen.
Yeah.
So I might be able to make a move with it afterwards.
Yeah, there's going to be a big boost in the net worth of Whisper here. Pretty large stacks as well that were prepared for him.
Yeah, and Schofield, honestly. He was pretty low level, but getting all that XP from the stacks. He actually skilled Rocket at level 2 so that he could double stack, which is not that you see every day on these clockworks, but being a melee can be pretty hard to get those double stacks going. Maureen?
Mess with this. I mean, it's going to be difficult really for Schofield to do much because Crit is here by Maureen's side.
He'll just soak XP. Maybe throw a rocket. He'll get 2 creeps.
He did get a couple of them.
Not bad.
A little bit of something.
I like this move from KJ. This is actually really clever. In the mid lane, since he knows the Sanking's jungling, he's just blasting the tower. He's actually almost taken the entire tower as this 5-position Pugna. So pretty impressive. So that's one thing that the 5-position Pugna can absolutely give you. It's gone.
Yeah, that's super early. And nice by there as well. King Jungles making sure that he gets the last laugh there in the mid lane. But I think the 5 Pugna nearly taking that tower as quickly as the Maureen DK took theirs in game 1.
That was honestly really heads-up move. It was kind of the combo of him plus Clockwork, right? Schofield scouting the Sanking, doing the camps. KJ knew he had the luxury to just walk over there. KJ?
Might be in trouble now. I mean, he's got the 5 by his side. Devi's thinking about coming in with the Rolling Thunder. They're trying to burst down King Jungles, but King Jungles, he'll get up to the side. Rolling Thunder in onto Maureen. Burrow Strike is there, and even Divide, if he goes for another connection, would not have had anywhere close to damage on his own to kill off Malrine. So Malrine's perfectly fine, but they are able to at least keep King Jungle safe.
This is a really heads-up move. I mean, Malrine instantly TPing bottom. It's going to catch Yuma pre-6.
He's not got the 6 of Spear. A little bit off the mark there from Amar, but you know what? Doesn't matter. They still get the kill.
Oh, that's so smart. It's almost 9 minutes, and Yuma's still not level 6. So pretty impressive. I mean, very slow level 6 coming out from the Abba, but good recognition from Falcons.
Wants to try and turn up for the defense down bottom.
Bit awkward, he cannot. Hard for him to just run in as a Leshrac in this game since he's playing versus the Mars. If he just charges, he's just going to get speared away, right? He'll get pushed back.
Things might be a little different once he's got the Blink Dagger, and he's pretty close. Obviously, after being able to clear out those stacks at this stage, still in a good spot as the Lesh with the farm that he has, just a few hundred off the Blink Dagger.
But Owen, again, it's an incredibly oppressive early start to the game from Falcons. Level 6 already finished. Up for the Skywrath as well. All 3 cores farming well, and they have shut down at least 2 of the positions again, 2 of the cores.
And
in similar fashion.
And Yuma this game right on the Abaddon, it doesn't hit as hard as the Gyro turning up to the early fights, right? He's going to need a lot of time to work on that Radiance before he wants to show his face, which is, this game, as you can see on the net worth, Whisper, he is at the top. A lot of pressure is going to be on this Leshrac to just have that sort of impact, especially with the fact that his offlaner Divide is struggling.
For sure, and the fact that it's going to be an Abaddon versus an Ursa. So at some points in the game, it doesn't matter. The longer the fights go, sometimes Abba likes those long fights, but Ursa doesn't care. Alright, Whisper, let's see what he can do. Blink is coming out. See if he goes for a kill immediately. He is. Crit.
That'll get the jump straight away over towards him. Crit's
going to heal a lot.
Flare. Crit. He's going to get the Crepified. Another blast comes into play. Crip, he's still alive. Finally goes down, but time's been for Mosquito to turn up and tear apart King Jungles. King Jungles trying to survive with the life drain, but the swipes stack up. Mosquito will be able to find the trade there.
Actually, almost close to Crit surviving with the heal that comes in with the Hand of God as well. That heal that comes from your nukes.
Pretty time for the setup. Get the catch onto Amar, but Amar has got backup coming in.
Malrine,
he's ready with the Epi. Divide will come through with the Rolling Thunder, though. They're bringing Amar down pretty low. A good spear to push back Yuma, sort of take him out of the fight and put him in a very dangerous position close to the tower. Falcons, they just able to turn towards him, kill him off. They can now look over towards Schofield and put the cogs down. We'll be able to get out of them, but look who's turned up to the fight as well. Skeeter, he's arrived. Heroic, they have to keep on running. The life drain's coming in from the side. Falcons, do they want to dive to tier 1? They've got the wave in. Blink Dagger on the way out now for Malrine. This could be a difficult tier 1 to hold for Heroic, especially after losing their Abaddon. Maybe they can set up around the respawn of Yuma when he gets back in.
Whisper has the blink.
Schofield still pretty low. In with the spear. Coming again with the life drain. He's keeping going for the life. They're able to turn. He'll drop the arena, but he's able to get out of it. Oh my God. Down onto Whisper. Crit doing insane amounts of damage here to the Leshrac as Whisper's out of the fight. Jump forward from Malrine. In with the Burrow Strike. Catches on to Divide. And Yuma. Divide trying to get back in with the shield crash, but he doesn't have enough damage on his own to kill off Skeeter. Skeeter's going to be fine. They're falling low on Falcons. Heroic, can they actually finish off any of these kills? Doesn't look like they can. Malrine's able to jump back up on the high ground with the Burrow Strike on a Schofield. Divides it again. He can't quite get snaky. Those snaky flares. No time towards Crit. Schofield gets sniped by Amar. Heroic, they just can't kill anybody, Fog.
They're like 10% HP on 4 heroes. Able to get out, heal up. Whisper, he died so fast. He jumped in. It looked like he was maybe going to get at least a turnaround kill, but the Sky ult just decimates him.
He's going to look to Skeeter up top, and Enrage is all caught up, but the stun's going to miss.
Man.
He needed that to hit big time. Whisper doesn't get the connection. Skeeter, he's able to walk away.
Falcons just playing it so beautifully again, and just little things from Heroic not connecting together. Now Whisper, he's got the silence.
Chasing down Crit. Should be pretty dead here. So something to be found here from Heroic's move, but they still need a whole lot more to try and slow down this lead that once again Falcons is being able to get against them.
And they've got a really, as you can see for Heroic, they have a really good 5-man fight, but you can see also Falcons, same thing, just standing around these auras, standing around this Epi, or standing around the Sandstorm in particular from Malrine. It's just very difficult, and I did see that Mars ult, by the way, immediately turn off the life drain in that fight, I'm pretty sure, so, if I'm not mistaken.
We'll be able to take the tier 1 tower top. You make getting that extra bit of Burst of gold.
Bottom, Amar, he's thinking about going for this play here. Tower's gonna get denied. I guess with Yuma, maybe not gonna look for that play onto Devi since the shield is available.
Maori gets close enough. They might still be able to make something happen if Heroic end up sticking around.
Got the amp damage and the army of snaking.
Heroic, they do have a few around themselves, but they can't be wanting to fight into Falcons here.
No, and Amar has gone I call it like his full tanky build that he likes to do sometimes when he doesn't feel like he needs a blink dagger. He is incredibly durable. It's a 2,000 HP bar. It's only 13 minutes in. Even if you have a Leshrac, it could just not be enough for you to bring him down, as we saw in that last fight in particular.
Marin. Devi getting the jump onto him. Straight away with the Mystic Flare followed as well. The life drain's coming in though, healing him up. Ancient Seal down on the wall. Zip Schofield's in with the counter play. Has the hook shot onto Marin. Rocking him. With the Cox, Marin will still be able to break out. Jumping in, so Heroic able to keep themselves safe and take a kill in their favor, making sure that the Sand King Sky combo doesn't get away with a clean pick.
KJ in the right place at the right time, gets the full life drain off. Devi holds the ulti too, so he will have it potentially for the next move if they want to look for some type of play here versus the Epi being on cooldown. Epi and Hand of God. Looks like they're content with just getting a little bit more of that farm. The Kaya Whisper does have it finished up, swapped away from that Atos that he was looking at initially.
Ideally for Heroic, if they're able to slow down the pace until they can get that Radiance online for Yuma.
It's going to be pretty slow though.
It's not going to be one of the fast ones. He's nearly over that first hurdle of the Relic Gold, coming up to 3,000 gold on the Abaddon.
Might be one of the slowest, I think, actually, that I've seen on these Abaddons as of late. Snaking.
They'll find him. He's going to go for the TP, but they'll have ways to stop that with the Rolling Thunder.
Give Yuma the last hit for sure, right? Yeah, they are. Good. Make sure Devi does not take that one. Yuma needs every bit he can get to accelerate toward that Radiance. And they'll get the creeps. Nicely done. A good move. Catching it. It's good moves like this whenever you can look for Falcons, because you know that they are going to play kind of split up. Snaking is going to look to farm a lot in this game, especially when those ultis are on cooldown. So a nice little swing over. Even if it's just, 5 position, at least it gets them a kill, and it is Yuma who gets that last hit.
Talking about liking to farm a lot. Do you like this from Schofield? He says we need the axe ASAP. Straight up.
Don't. I was gonna. Yeah. I really don't.
Yeah,
I didn't really want to mention it because I've seen him do this in the past, even at TI. And I think the games when he did this at TI, it actually looked one of the weaker ones compared to when he did this other build. But so be it.
All right. Well, we'll see.
Schofield is the king of the clockwork song.
See if he's sort of able to, I feel like it's going to be one of those builds he says probably gets picked up in the games where they're struggling, where Schofield's like, you know what, I need to have more impact from me. I'm going to carry this one from the clock on the support position. So we'll see if he can.
He's just looking to play with rockets, right? He feels like he can't play close into the fights, and he's just going to be playing to spam from backlines. See if he can get there. It's still going to take quite a long time for him to do so.
Yeah, he's getting some good space top. But Whisper will be, he'll quickly turn up and take that away from him, as he needs to get that money towards that BKB Whisper.
Getting incredibly low. He'll be okay. Yeah, they need to get these BKBs. The Pugna's only going to be really able to save one target. They do at least have the Abba that can shield either himself or one of these others that gets initiated in terms of this.
Oh, will they find Marin in time? They will.
Big catch.
Schofield and Whisper coming through the twin gates and having the hook shot at the ready to put a stop to the TP.
That's the
Schofield. And get themselves a very big kill.
The Schofield we love. The first pick Clockwork. Finds one of the biggest pickoffs they found out, if not the biggest one so far this game. Might be able to turn it into a tower as well. At least KJ can start to spam it down. Extra bit of gold. That's pretty much the Radiance. 250 gold if he's able to get these blasts onto the tower.
It's pretty big. I mean, all in all, I think Heroic, despite the fact that they're slightly behind, they're going to be very happy with the fact that these last kind of few minutes, things have slowed down, and Yuma has had that chance to get this Radiance online.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's already leaps and bounds better, it feels like, than that last game. Last game right now was the last time they got a kill at that 17 or 18-minute mark, and then they never got another one. So.
A high chance of this potentially being a different story this time.
Should be.
Heroic can keep this up and ensure that Falcons don't continue to grow the advantage. Falcons, they're going to do their best to do so, though. They come in with a smoke play.
Right? Past the tree line.
Skeeter's gone pretty deep for this. Trying for Whisper, but the hook shot comes in from Schofield. The Coach as well, holding back Skeeter. He's trying to back out of this. He has Amar and snaking by his side to fight. In with the Rolling Thunder and Shield Crash once more, but Mari comes into the epicenter of the Mystic Flare. Down on towards Devi. Devi will fall. Amar, he's got the arena onto the two supports, catching Schofield and King Jungles. Falcons showing that a team fight they'll still take very handedly.
The Cogs actually messed the Vi a little bit up. He was getting bounced back into the fray. I think he was trying to maybe get out, but wasn't able to. Falcons, they bring the numbers. That's everything used, and it's right around the Roche. That was all their ults used to be able to take that fight successfully with great position. Yeah, he just gets on the support to the BKB, right? He doesn't need the blink. He's just able to walk up to them.
So, you know, the timings from Falcons in that game one, kind of similar here, where they get the chance for the early Roche. Should be able to set things up as well to prime for that 20-minute Tormentor.
Yeah. And even though, yes, Heroic, they've made some recoveries. The lead is starting to grow a bit here.
Yeah.
My real biggest worry is that their damage, yes, they have this mixed damage, but the auras are definitely going to start to come out pretty soon.
See again from Amar, yeah, pretty much a perfect arena, catching the two supports and just sort of locking Yuma out of it.
He was trying so hard. He was literally banging on the wall saying, "Let me in."
They're gonna keep the pressure up though, Heroic, or at least try and shake up Falcons at a moment where maybe Falcons have relaxed a little bit after feeling that with the Aegis in their hands, Heroic wouldn't go for a play like this into Falcons.
I mean,
Let's see if it catches them by surprise.
Falcons ults are still on cooldown. At least the majority of them. It's 10 seconds or so till Arena.
I mean, if they isolate Skeeter, can they take him down the twice? He's got the Aegis and he has got the Enrage.
Got team back up pretty close. That Arena's back up in 2 seconds.
Does Schofield want to go for this with the hook?
Whisper, he's caught.
Yeah, they managed to catch Whisper. Completely isolated. They try to lead him with a hook shot looking towards Skeeter. They'll catch him in the cogs, but he just turns, kills off Schofield. Heroic, they tried to catch someone by their own. It was a risky play, Fog, a pretty desperate one as well.
Feeling like
does not work out.
And honestly, it's right around like this. The last time they got a kill in the last game was 17 minutes or so. This one, it's 5 to 14. Falcons is starting to get that methodical approach where they don't really hemorrhage much of anything. He's got to get that Tormentor as well. Crit, he gets it handed to him.
Yeah.
This is honestly the dream for a Skyrath when you're getting this type of game. 7, 3, and 4 already. He's gone Kaya, and he gets a free shard. His damage is going to be ridiculous in the fights as well. Even as a support, they're able to get these extra Qs off.
See again here, you know, a lot of time chasing Skeeter, whilst Falcons having that freedom to just turn and just drop everything onto the Leshrac, bring Whisper out of the fight, and at that point, the attempt from Heroic's completely over.
And KJ, he just can never, he can't save targets in this arena. It's impossible. He can't save himself. I'm pretty sure, I saw a couple of times he turned and tried to legend. It's just not happening, so.
And he's just going to be, yeah, as you said, just Crit already getting the chance to freely cast everything. Now with that Meteor Hammer thrown into the mix, something else that... he's just having fun.
The Meteor Hammer, I talked to Crit a lot about this, because me and him have been discussing Skyrath just on the back of just a lot, because we both really love the hero, and he's just like, it's so cheap of a pickup. You don't even really need to use the active of it, but look at the benefit that you get from the upgrade from Kaya to it. You get a lot. You get this like mana right regen amp, all these like small little stats and everything too. It matters. It definitely does.
No, that's very true. Any sort of mana issue is it's not going to be there even for a drawn-out team fight.
Yep, and of course, yes, he'll be able to blast perhaps 1 or 2 times onto a tower here or there. Or if there's an arena that comes out, there's a double spear. He absolutely can use that meteor. So it's a cool approach that he can go for. And if he does commit for Conda, that would be pretty hype. Because I think I saw him do it the other game too. He did play versus someone pretty broken like the Abba.
I think if so the game trajectory continues as it has been for the last few minutes, I think he certainly will. Crit ready to have some fun here on the Skyrath. I mean, already is, of course, 7, 3, and 4, very high kill involvement, very high impact, and high damage done already, I would imagine.
Yeah, I really do feel like Heroics, a lot of their timings have been completely ruined in this game already, where it's very difficult for them to even approach a comeback in this game. I'm seeing Amari's joking around, but he's queuing up a Rapier. I'm not kidding. Like, he's actually been queuing Rapier for some time now, because he maybe thinks that he can get away with it. It's that,
I hope it's probably going to be a nullifier.
He probably will just be the nullifier.
I think he's beaming, but well, we'll see if he's ready to entertain. They'll go for the jump on him. We'll get the BKB off. They've done a lot of damage through that. The hero will come out once more, but he's gone. Now Arena decides, though, gets the jump, get the FP off. They tell the 3 of them will take down Schofield. Divide trying to lead in, but the Mystic Flare's down upon him. Divide focused by the bear. As Skeeter rips him apart, turns over towards Yuma. Yuma's dead and gone. Burrow strike on towards King Jungles. Falcons may have lost them all, but they certainly haven't lost the fight as they'll take down all 4 of them. King Jungles, nowhere to run.
Crazy team fight. They just stand and sustain through it. Yuma tries to run in, but the damage, it's not fast. It's very slow damage. There's a mech. There's insane sustain that comes in from the side of Falcons. Ursa enrages, tanks through it. Sandstorm sitting inside of it for the sinking. And Skyrath, I was mentioning it before too, but you heal an absolute insane amount in the fights too. With this triple arcane bolt with 35% spell lifesteal. He's just standing inside of all of it. trading hits.
See again here. Despite Amar dying, the rest of Falcons very quick to turn.
Like, look at Crits. Look, Crits, look, zero damage being taken. He has the barrier versus that Radiance as well. Snaking has the mech. They're all just sustaining through that slow damage that comes in from Heroic.
Yeah, definitely one of the strengths of the Abaddon carry with this Radiance. Very much being answered with this build-up from Falcons.
Just they're tanky, and they have an insane amount of sustain as well.
And Amar, obviously after that last move,
he's still keeping it queued up.
I mean,
he buys the nullifier. He's not doing it, man.
Ah, disappointment. Maybe still to come later down the line, you know. But indeed, no rapier quite yet on Amar. Probably any consideration of it was probably shot down after that death.
I mean, he was doing it for us, you know, for us and the viewers. He's like, look, guys, I could do it. But yeah, of course, nullifier is 1,000 times better versus the glimmers and versus the pug with decrep, etc. So more sensible for him to have that. Skeeter approaching the Aghanims. KJ.
I know he's in there.
He tried. They saw him with the ward sneaking over there earlier. Skeeter unstoppable on this Ursa. 6-0 and 6. From him so far. And he's gonna get this content.
Oh, he is.
He's definitely gonna get it. 3,000 gold away.
And maybe he gets a rapier.
Okay.
And we'll see.
Oh. It's just about the break.
That's a very lovely double Burrow strike and Epi coming in on the two of them. Whisper will pop the BKB, won't save him. Maureen just able to idly catch the two of them.
They're giving them no hope, Owen. 6-21.
I mean, I can't really, 25 minutes in, was game one rough for the lead, or it's pretty similar, right?
I think it actually got worse in this one.
I think it did.
It actually got worse faster.
The early stages were like, well, you know what?
Yeah.
Maybe it's not going to be as rough. 25 minutes in, Falcons say it's going to be rough.
I think last one was around 11K at this point, if I'm not mistaken, or 12. So, I mean, this is insane how fast they're accelerating.
Schofield.
Yeah.
See if he at least can waste their time a little bit. So, no. It's going to get dragged back here by the microphone snaking. Heroic.
They just can't. They can't even like put a fight up together now because now the BKB timing from Whisper, he died immediately and used it. So even them potentially looking for this fight down here could be extremely dangerous. Falcons, they're all prepared for it. How close is Snake to the pipe? Doesn't quite happen. Okay, I thought it was coming on the courier. It is coming on the courier. Okay, he does have the pipe.
It's there.
All right, well.
Is that even quicker than last game?
Yeah, absolutely faster than last game on this end, on this Chen. This is insane timing. How do you kill heroes? They might not actually lose anybody in the next fight. With Mech, with Hand of God, with Pipe.
And he's like, last game. Oh, see? They get the jump onto Amar. They'll get the opening.
He's got BKB though.
It's there. He's just going to BKB TP out. Here's our one. Goodbye.
Schofield was not in range. No hook shot coming in from him.
Just cannot catch a break here, Heroic, in this game.
And he has committed for that Aghanim.
All right, let's see if we can do it. You know,
Triple rocket
said well last game, Yuma, you couldn't carry us and turn the game around on the Jari. This game, I'll carry us and turn the game around with my Aghanim's rush on the clockwork. Let's have a look. See what Schofield can pull off.
It's the sustain. Like I don't know how they kill heroes. So much sustain, so much healing, and their damage is not the fastest on the side of Heroic by any means. Small damage instances now at this point versus this incredibly tanky draft.
They're ready to jump up to the tier 2s. They get the setup on a Whisper, put the BKB, but they're in with the right clicks of Skeeter to take him out. Device looking for Crit, but the heals are coming into play. Crit will still fall. They'll get the chance to take him down. And Yuma doing a fair bit of damage to Maureen, but Maureen's able to break away with the BKB and the Burrow Strike. Falcons, they'll get the big kill. They back off. They do lose someone, but it is just a support. Heroic, they're desperately trying to find something more from this. The Rocket Flare
here.
continuing to get spammed down by it. The clockwork, Schofield, the Burrow Strike there on a Divide, though. Gives him no chance to back away after that attempted chase. Falcons coming out on top once again and ready to set up for another Roshan.
Well, they got Crit again. That is the 4th death on Crit, so 4 out of the 7 that they've gotten has been on the Skywrath, but not able to find these core kills by any means.
Schofield, he's got to go for this.
Yeah, absolutely.
You gotta try it.
He's got Hook.
It's a difficult one to time, and Snake King's blocking off the.
Look at Amar.
Attempted angle. It's a good angle here. He gets the kill. He won't be able to take the Aegis, but you know what? He gets the kill, folks.
You saw Amar. You see that pump faking on the spear? He knows it's coming. He gets the stun onto him before he's able to get the pickup. At least he gets the last hit, get some XP for himself, but they were very prepared.
They were. They really were, understandably so. After they see the rockets coming, but it's something. You know, when you're 20k down in a game like this, maybe a little bit of a boost of morale here for Heroic in the tough position they are.
It's truly no mercy from Falcons. Even Crit is saying, you know what? I'm going to be sensible. I'm just going to get a Force Staff, and then I probably won't die when they initiate me on me as well, as you see it there.
As you said, perfect timing. And the hook shot from Schofield to get the kill, but perfect timing and response from Amar and the boys on Falcons to make sure that the Aegis still goes into their hands.
Both of them literally with perfect timing.
Let's see what we get going on next here from Falcons with this Aegis now picked up by Skeeter.
He is so farmed on this Ursa, by the way. Just continue to look at this net worth. He's 5,000 ahead of literally anybody else.
King Jungles, they'll get the tower. They won't get out, though.
He's got a full Abyssal Blade. So even these BKBs, even the Rolling Thunder, they could just die during those BKBs as well. There's so much damage that's going through, as we see. The Rebuke, even the Epicenter, well, you know, the pulses that come out with it, with the little individual hits that come out. Like, this BKB just doesn't really do too much for Whisper either. There's just so much mixed damage that Falcons does have.
Falcons cleaning up the tier 2s. Still a tier 2 standing in the mid lane for Heroic.
Yuma, he's got like these core items, right? He's got the Manta, he's got the Blink. It's just his damage is just still so slow how he builds up and ramps up throughout these fights. I saw him trying to bring Malrine down around that T2 top, and he really couldn't. Malrine was able to disengage, even though he was getting hit on for like, I think it was like 6 seconds by the carry.
And last game, you know, Falcons, they played it incredibly safe. I would be surprised if we see them do a similar thing this game.
Oh yeah.
You know, there's no reason for them to try and take any risks right now. Full control of the game. Schofield, he'll be able to get in and steal the haste route. If they can chase him down, they can't, so he'll get away with that. Just trying his best to sort of shake them off their game.
Basher for the Sand King as well. Multiple different ways. I mean, they have so many different ways to interrupt inside of these BKBs.
These sandstorms and Epis are going to be pretty ridiculous. You know, timing's there. It's playing the Tormentor.
Methodical.
King Jungles, nothing he can do to scare the bear.
Just walk past him.
Yuma. He's down here. He's got Schofield and Divide by his side. Maybe they can take the Aegis out of Skeeter's hand.
Backup's coming.
It's on the way. Skeeter have a little longer with the enrage. He's able to threaten Schofield quite a bit as well. Finally drops
them a long time.
They got to get out. They can't risk sticking around and try for a second time. They'll go for the TP. He's out. Divide. He's got the TP at the ready. He'll go for it now, and there's nothing. Oh, actually, no.
Now he is.
Now he's going for it. He'll get out with the rest of that roll, so he'll escape.
At least they'll get that Aegis.
True. Takes it away, sort of like, I think it was about 2 minutes away from expiring.
Sure.
So a little bit of uptime from that Aegis taken away from Falcons.
But now there is no Pango roll, so there is, I think, maybe a potential chance if Falcons does want to at least poke toward that high ground for a second. There's no roll. That roll is one of the things you actually have to be a little bit afraid of, if anything. But looks like they probably are just going to back away. Let's see. Amar, he's gone for the full tank build, by the way. Satanic.
All right, and it looks like he's going to continue.
He's going to
add up the stats. S&Ys, Scardy's queued up. Just wants to be this completely unkillable front line for Falcons. And if he can get that build online, he'll certainly be that. Top.
Skeeter.
The angle onto Skeeter. This time it's a little more difficult for Falcons to connect over towards him.
Getting caught.
It's just hard. They just don't have enough damage, do they? Whisper's going to try with the jump in. They'll get the stun in.
The heals?
Coming in the heals there. The Spirit of Mars.
Not enough. They get it.
They'll get the big kill here, Heroic. They're able to take Skeeter down. They'll lose Schofield for it. Divide still trying to play on and find more, but Marine's there ready to keep Snake King safe. As Divide, can he get out as well? Nullified down upon him. The spear connects. Whisper is able to clear off Crit to the side. In fact, Heroic, they're not done yet. They'll jump forward on Yuma. Trying to take down more Whisper. In with the damage. It's actually a triple kill for Whisper. But Marine's in with the epicenter. King Jungle trying to keep Whisper alive with the life drain. But Whisper will fall. Marine cleaning things up. Heroic, they tried their best there. They seized the opportunity to get that chance, to get the kills.
Buyback.
Yuma should be fine. Maybe they can still try for more.
Nice spear.
Anything to stop this. Nobody's able to get there in time. A little bit of something for Heroic, but still overall, Malrine coming out on top with the cleanup at the end of the fight.
honestly, it's the tanky cores, right? Just incredibly tanky, especially with the way that Amar has built. He just withstands the full Leshrac combo. And this Basher actually is pretty interesting with the Sanking too, because Pugna, they're just making KJ's game impossible. He just gets hit by like a random pulse and might just get bashed as well while trying to save some of these cores. But a good catch. They finally are able to find Skeeter.
Absolutely, and just in time as well. Yeah, it was very close to Amar Snaking being able to turn up at a point where they could keep him alive and safe. And Heroic absolutely doing what they had to, right? In this sort of situation, you killed the carry in a very rare sort of situation considering the state of the game. You've got to push forward for more. Whisper's able to clean up Crit at the side. And at this point, even though they've lost Divide, the fact that Yuma and Whisper are still in a decent shape, they had to try for this.
Yeah, they just got to go for pretty much anything. They can't just like sit back and farm like they did in that last game, right? You can't just like play to lose. You got to try to play to do something. So at least they attempt to go for these moves. Of course, they do get at least something there, but Falcons do strike back. And we will see the BKB next for the Earth. So Skeeter, he did go a bit greedy with his build because he could, because of how far ahead they went, right? He goes for the Ags, and then he goes for the full Abyssal rather than going for the BKB. Now he'll have it. If he had the BKB in these last few ones, he's just perfectly fine, but now he won't.
Online. Able to get his next item online.
Okay, he's got the Ags.
It's done.
I mean, necessary. Absolutely necessary in this game. They need every little extra damage that they can get, as we're seeing. These heroes are incredibly hard to bring down. And the Orchid's done.
Yeah, they're getting
toward the next few things.
And these sort of next round of pickups, despite kind of getting cleaned up at the end of that fight. In fact, they did get the kills beforehand, has enabled this next round of pickups. You know, we've got 3.5k at the moment sitting on the Leshrac. Whisper can start eyeing up his next pickup.
Just need a fight where they can somehow clean up multiple core kills, not just the one, right? Very difficult to bring them down. They have to expend so much to even bring down one of those. And Malrine is getting very close to the incredibly dangerous territory. I say the incredibly dangerous territory. He's already been incredibly dangerous, but he's getting close to Refresher 25. They're already picking out the Shrine. They do this all the time when they play him as a Sanking. Prioritize him getting that level 25 plus Refresher. Heroic.
So if they can catch anyone off the side of the map, they might find Skeeter down there. Again, Skeeter obviously pretty far away from potential backup.
He has BKB.
It's a tough one to jump.
Much
Crit, he's closing in, ready to help out. The vision set up, they're looking for the jump. They get the silence to open things up. And they've got the burst control as well with the rolling thunder. Look at the BKB in the range up, but he's so low, Skeeter, he's in trouble. The rocket lens fly through. A massive kill. And this time, Heroic, they won't be punished for that.
And is Roche going to spawn soon too? It might actually respawn at a pretty decent timing for them too. Let's see the timer. It's a long spawn. Just kidding. Favors Falcons for that respawn.
Just huge moves and just being able to have that amount of control to stop him from getting the range of the BKB on soon. Quick on top. He's got BKB and Satanic ready to press here, Amar. He's a very tough one to take down.
He doesn't know where Schofield is, so he can't just BKB TP. Schofield's scouting him.
Divide to continue the chase. Schofield watching from the sidelines.
Maybe a bit too far now. Yuma's still continuing to go.
Falcons, they don't want any of this whilst they haven't got their carry, whilst they haven't got Crit up as well.
I mean, that's massive.
No. And I tell you what, no joke about it, the Aghanim's clock, it's giving them that little extra for these sort of setups. These consistent rocket flare spams coming in those sort of movements, allow them to safely chase on. Extra bit of damage as well. Schofield, he'll be telling it, it's making the difference, and I wouldn't be able to disagree with it.
Honestly, now they have Whisper with a Hex now, too, so they can do this again. If they find the Ursa isolated again, they could just chain stun him.
Yuma.
These are pretty big moves from Heroic at this deficit.
Yeah, exactly. Playing like this, you have 25k down and still finding the opportunities. No, opportunities they were just completely unable to find in game one.
It's playing to win. Like, they're taking big risks, but it's benefiting them pretty massively. Like last game, I feel like they didn't really take too many risks. They just kind of sat back and farmed. This time, I think they're realizing like we can't just really sit back and farm. We need to still try to make moves on the map, even if it is still incredibly difficult.
Absolutely.
Falcons, they do split up a lot in these games, right? They do like to hit creeps and farm. So if they do find those opportunities, and like you said, perhaps because of the Rocket scouting them, maybe they can actually get these. So
getting the Octarine on top of the Aghanims on this clock, it's no joke. Just constantly, waves are going to be pushed out. The spam is going to be absolutely real from Schofield. He's ready to play the long game.
We'll see in terms of what the actual team fight is going to look, though, because they've been able to get a couple pickoffs when Falcons is nowhere near each other. Let's see what happens when it's actually 5v5.
Falcons, they're ready to bring the full 5 of them. They get the jump in straight away on towards Whisper.
Dead for 90. He spent the gold. He did buy that Hex. Roche, it's up, and they walk right into it. Level 25 on the Ursa.
Schofield, where is he? He is indeed on his way over.
Rocket.
Okay, he's scouting things out.
Can he get into prime position? Let's see.
It's kind of difficult.
Come on, little Schofield.
Divide.
It's going to be Divide.
Play as well. See if he's able to time it. It's falling low, but the rush shot's already been taken. Skeeter, he's able to pick up.
He used the refresher.
The refresher shot on the Aegis.
I mean, he just used the refresher shot because he didn't pick up the Aegis.
Well, just to have panic. Like, I need a free.
He didn't want it to get stolen.
This refresher to make sure I can pick that Aegis up quick.
He didn't want it to get stolen. He just used it immediately. All right, well, refresher down the drain. Level 25s across the board, though, for Falcons. All 3 cores actually hitting it almost at the same time. Malreen's got it done, Amar, and the Ursa.
Yeah, meanwhile on the side of Heroic, there's Whisper that's not too far away. He's close to the 25. The other 2 cores much further.
Times the 30 seconds. High ground push. It's time. We also see these neutral items being picked up. The Pyrrhic cloaks. Very powerful, very potent versus Flesh.
See what they can do on the defense set. Let's rack for 20 seconds.
They just have to sack this Rax at least. And I think Falcons might, they might just be able to continue. Pretty sure they can just move down to bottom.
With like Street Wave alive in the mid, they can definitely try and do some more damage.
Yep. Response coming in.
BKB on Yuma. Allow him to frontline a little bit easier.
Mar has 4,200 HP. He even takes the brawny Outworld staff. Unbelievably tanky. And he takes the cheese as well.
They'll hold back for now, Falcons. I mean, even though there's been a chance this game for Heroic to punch back a little bit, it's not going to shake Falcons off that style of gameplay where they'll make sure that this game is in the safest of positions before they really try and push it.
No risks taken from Falcons, really. They did hemorrhage some kills that they probably didn't want to in this game in terms of the Ursa being picked off twice back-to-back. Yeah, back-to-back in terms of grouping up, not letting themselves hemorrhage kills. Amar going for a Scotty next. He is literally going for the maximum HP build. Maybe he gets rid of his phase boots and buys a heart afterwards. Okay, he's going to buy an overwhelming play, so yeah, going for the absolute max HP build.
Now, I might be mistaken, but just an interesting. I think a couple of times his courier was sniped with the counter recipe on. I think he just bought it like a second.
Did he?
I think we'll check.
I think you might be right because I did see it died.
But I think it died a second time. He just had enough. He's like, I'm just.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
right. Look.
So he was like, you know, he keeps sniping my courier. I can't get this recipe. I'm just gonna have to buy a second one and just accept that loss.
Yeah, why not?
He wants to have that item online as soon as he can.
We'll see how much of a difference it actually even ends up even making. Of course, it
it's
can,
a little bit of money down the drain, right?
I mean, if he gets the catch and they're able to just burst Yuma, right? If he just Ancient Seals him and they get an Abyssal, he's dead. They can just burst him in 100.
An incredible amount.
Yeah. He's got the Manta, but if it's Abyssal comes out at the same time as it can just 100 to 0. Any of the targets, Heroic, gathered together.
On the move here with the smoke. Skeeter leading the way. 2 minutes left on the Aegis.
Schofield trying to scout the high line.
It's not a bad catch to find. Schofield's been pretty pesky with the rocket flare spam, helping to push the waves back. They'll catch him.
He even anticipated them being there. He rocketed, but they were smoked, and they bypassed getting hit by it so they can get the blink off too.
The Rax on the top lane.
Another banner has been dropped. Double siege.
Jungle's trying to slow it down here with a Decrepify.
They're going for a last hurrah smoke.
Let's see what they can get with this. Heroic. The buyback is well available on Schofield. They're trying for this wraparound into a lineup that does still have the Aegis on Ursa, on Skeeter.
Look at the positioning. Malreen is 2,000 range on the right. Amar 2,000 range on the right.
He's going to look to show himself, but straight away Skeeter's in on top of him. They come from the other
instantly.
They burst him. No chance for a bar time to go off. He's out of the game. No buyback on the carry. Yuma's gone. Whisper to fall. They tried for some sort of big brain wraparound play. It gets shut down. Triple kill from Amar. Falcons.
They're just too good, Owen.
They're ready to move on and close this series up. And indeed, they've done it. GG is called. Falcons will be going to the grand finals.
These guys are absolutely terrifying, and they seem to do it in just a consistent manner over and over again. They always are getting their heroes, right? You look at the top of the screen and you see Grandmaster, 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 Grandmaster. It always feels like they get away with getting these drafts to just function so well, so oppressive. Again, a 1K per minute lead again that they're able to get. Heroic strike back a little bit better in this game, but very little bit, of course, as we see coming in there. They're just too good at playing this style, Falcons. Someone's got gotta find an answer.
Absolutely, and unfortunately for Heroic, not able to find it themselves. They get a little bit of a better shot in this game too, but again, we've got to emphasize on the little bit.
The little bit.
It was a rough series. Falcons turning up, with this first showing in the series on the main stage here at Last Land 4 Singapore, showing us that they're very ready for the grand finals, right, folks? This team, no messing around in this one. They turn up, they play, they win. Straight there, they stamp their ticket to the grand finals.
And to say for Heroic, they've been a very entertaining team to watch. A lot of people, they've gained so many fans. There's no shame in losing to Falcons.
No, absolutely not. Something about the way Falcons keep this incredible hold on the games that they play right now leaves very little chances for any of the contenders to be able to just break them down and find a way to get back in. Even after this game where the early game lead wasn't as incredible from Falcons as it was in game one, it still didn't matter. As we got to the 20-minute or so mark, it was even more drastically going Falcons' way that when they did sort of dominate the early game. But a rough one here today for Heroic, but he said no shame. Absolutely, because Falcons, they've done this so many times before. They're doing it again today. 2-0 to Falcons. They're moving on to the grand finals.
Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen, I am here with ATF! Coming out from Falcons, not missing a beat, and another grand finals coming your way. How you feeling right now, my man?
At this point, it's feeling casual, It's just grand finals.
Casual grand finals, my God. Did you know that series was over as soon as they got to the iconic Mars? You locked it in? Did you just know the game was done?
I looked at the draft, I'm like, we need a hero that goes first item BKB. I'm like, Mars can do that.
And it didn't work out indeed. Any words for your opponents as they are heading out? They had a great run. They're up against you. Big dogs to have to beat. Have they improved over the tournament?
Wait, words for Heroic or Thunder?
Oh, sure. I mean, Heroic first, but then give me some words for Tundra. I'd love to hear that.
They're a good team. They have 2 offlaners, so getting top 4 is very good for them, I think. So, and this is probably the best South America has ever been, so they have very big room.
All right, kudos to them then. Any words for Tundra as we're coming up for that grand finals tomorrow?
Spicy words. I hope I get to destroy them, because this is like our hardest opponent. So I hope I shatter their dreams.
Okay, Jesus, that's great. All right, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to see some dreams get shattered tomorrow? All right. Well, thank you again for an incredible performance. Can't wait for tomorrow. And we will see more from this team coming up soon.
Yeah, someone's dream's definitely gonna get shattered, but for right now, it is not the Falcons' dream at all. Adam joining us here. How do you feel hearing one of your players like Amar there go, yeah, Tundra, we're gonna crush them?
I think he was censoring himself, honestly. I think he'll see some stuff in the room later.
Yeah, I could believe that. But for now, we're going to talk about the Dota, the action that unfolded here. First of all, did you expect this 2-0? I know it seems like such a silly question, but it's like Heroic have bested you guys in the past.
Heroic are a pretty good team, I think. I think it's never a guaranteed 2-0, but I think we're pretty confident coming into this match.
Nice. What about you guys? Any questions for Howie?
Yeah, I was curious what keeps you or y'all, striving so hard. Y'all won, pretty much everything there is to win, and you keep winning over such a long period of time. I think at this point you're entering the conversation for like greatest, rosters of all time. What's the driving force for you?
I think a lot of players like money, but to be honest, we haven't won a blast. We'd really like to do that. I think more than that, we really enjoy what we do outside the money even, it's fun to compete and it's really, really not fun to lose. So I think that motivates us. After last TI, I think we had a little bit of a rough period, the one before this one, and we didn't like that feeling, so we decided after we had a talk, we're all going to put our all into it, and there's no point for us competing if we're not going to try our hardest.
What element is the most fun for you then, personally?
For me personally?
Yeah.
Honestly, I really like it when we make adjustments when we're playing not the best and you can see it unfold. For me, that gives me joy. But it's
is that through a tournament, in a series?
I don't know. It's not something specific in a tournament. Sometimes it's even in scrims. We work on something, the comms are good. I'm like, yeah, I'm having impact. It's very rare, so it makes me happy.
Yeah, people say that a lot about you. Just least impactful coach out there.
I could ask about your structure, because like it's very clear that you guys have a very clear structure in your drafting and the heroes that you keep choosing. It's almost like this identical Falcon like 1 year ago, like same heroes almost in a lot of ways. And I'm curious, why do you think you succeed with that where others sort of don't have that implemented in their team?
I think for our team, we work really hard on our foundation. Like the heroes, they might be similar to a year ago, but like if the meta shifts, like there have been times, like there have been quite a few patches where we'll adjust heroes, but like how we think about the game won't change so much. And it's less about like using the Imba heroes and finding the heroes that sort of fit what we want to do in the game. So I don't really know if that answered that, but
sure.
Yeah.
Another draft question, mate. What's your thoughts when you go into a draft and a team just, suddenly picks Viper in like an opening phase? Like when you get these like random curveballs, like what's your feeling when a team preps like that?
And we tried the Viper ourselves, to be honest. So we sort of had an idea about the hero. I think the hero got more play. I think like people saw tops and spam on stream. They're like, ooh, that looks fun.
Yeah.
And then it just like enters the conversation and people pick it more. When they pick it, I guess like we know the hero pretty well, so we know what we think is its weaknesses and strengths, and we decided to like put our DK mid into what was supposed to be a bad matchup, and Marin played really well, and then we could get the Weaver, who they killed Viper twice and then he lost the lane, so that didn't go so well. But like theoretically, like we know how to punish these heroes, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
What are your thoughts on teams like when they come up against Falcons? It feels like they always try to craft a strategy to beat Falcons rather than always staying true to themselves. Like, what are your thoughts when teams like maybe complicate the things against you?
I don't know if that's necessarily true, to be honest, but I think in Dota it's really hard to like just outright counter-strat someone or copy someone right now. I feel like the level of refinement on certain strategies is really high right now, so even if like you try to steal how they play, like I don't know if it's true, but I feel like Heroic plays a lot like we did our first year of playing, to be honest. Like a lot of smokes to the runes, how they like wrap around smokes, things like this. And it's like, it works pretty well for them, but since we've done this already for a full year, it's successful for us, I think.
I was curious about like how y'all feel or how you think about Mallory's like laning ability in draft, because to me he's almost similar to like Sumail 2015 era right now, where he just can't lose lanes. Like he doesn't necessarily giga stomp lanes. You're not picking him like Queen versus Shaker type matchups, but like you just nobody can beat the guy in lane. I don't remember the last time I've seen him get stomped in lane. It just doesn't happen. So do y'all consider that in draft, and like what is your feel on it?
I mean, we had like the game versus what finals? He was like 0-7 on Ember. So
Okay,
like that
yeah,
was one
sure,
first Queen.
sure,
So
Ember
he gets.
Queen, yeah.
It's very rare he gets stomped though, and he knows the matchup. I mean, Sumail in 2015 was like he just had triple the CSL players and 3 solo kills, and he was just carrying us every game. But yeah, it's a big strength for us because we know that like if we need something for the lineup, even if we put a disadvantageous matchup, he like usually gets out of it pretty well, which is sort of broken. I mean, Maori's a very good. It's really very broken conceptually because like there are things in Dota that are like higher value than laning, right? Yeah. But you have to have the laning, otherwise you can't play the game. But if you get those things on like cheating the lane, then like you just come out ahead and draft and they're like hero quality. Yeah, it's nice. I like it. It's good for us. I don't know.
It feels like the other cheat code that you guys have when it comes to drafting is how flexible a hero can be to almost any core role and sometimes even supports. Do you ever have arguments with the players about who is going to be playing it? And not necessarily in officials, but when it comes to like scrims or doing the prep work and things like that?
No, I think it's a lot on the players to like decide what heroes they sort of like anyways. But there have been times on our team where we felt like we valued flex too highly, and then like we would over index on that, and then we'd like not flex at all, and it would just be bad. And so we had like conversations about that and had to like adjust based on like how much flex we need in our draft, because flex is good in draft, but sometimes like hero quality of the flex heroes is sort of weird, so you have to find a balance.
Awesome.
My last question. Do you ever trust a Mars quick buy? Like, obviously, he probably wasn't going to buy Rapier second, right? After BKB. But when you look at it as a coach, it's like, are you having to plan the conversation? What if he buys this? What if you, like, lose with it? Like, are you preparing ever for it? Or just whatever happens, happens?
And we played together a long time. We've had conversations where, like, Snay will click on a Mar, and he'll be like, oh, I thought you were going to buy drums because you're quick buy. And like, Mar's like, why are you looking at my quick buy? So we've actually had conversations about not trusting his quick buy. Usually it's Midas or Rapier, so that's easier. But like, yeah, he's a unique guy. I don't know what to say. He likes it. Like, if they're enjoying themselves, like, what can you really say? Like, you're gonna get like a 0.001% more efficient. Oh, my teammate can check my item, or you can have someone who's enjoying himself and he's obviously playing very well. So why would you disturb that?
Yeah, I mean, that's how he gets in the zone. That's how you guys are still winning games. And Ali, thank you so much for spending time with us, giving out all that insight and Congratulations again on making it to the grand finals. We're going to say goodbye to you for now, though. You can head on out as we get to talk about Falcons now making it to the grand finals. But I guess the flip side to that one, T, is unfortunately Heroic no longer being here in Blast Slam 4. They had an impressive game for themselves yesterday's series, and it just wasn't there today, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, again, we have to obviously remember Falcons are, the TI winners, the previous event winners as well. It's not as if it's like Heroic lost to this team, right? It's, they lost to the team so far, right? So fair play to Heroic. Of course, it wasn't their best showing, again, the play here, but the future is bright. They hold their heads high. They understand why they lost to the best team in the world, and then they might be able to compete for the grand finals in a future tournament.
Yeah, I think you learn way more from losing than you do from winning. And so while it sucks to lose, and they would have loved to go to the grand finals to sort of break that record for South America, I think, especially when you are on a growing team like this, you watch the replays, you look, you see what did Falcons do against us, what do they do against other teams, what separates us, what were the little things that we can improve on that will make our games cleaner in the future. So you just have to go back to work.
You are, and it's going to be time for Heroic. Unfortunately, not in this tournament. But before we say goodbye to them, Shiva got to catch a couple of words from them.
I'm here with the Vi, and the Vi, this was a rough series. What went wrong?
Quite a few things, I would say. I'm not sure how to pinpoint. I think just our level just wasn't high enough on a couple levels. When you play against Falcons, you have to bring your A game, and I don't think we were close to our A game today. So.
You guys have been growing and getting stronger consistently, especially these last couple of weeks, and it has shown. What do you think Heroic needs to push you to the top?
I think as we keep growing, we'll get more and more consistent in stability. I think we're at a level where we can be competitive against any team on our best day. If luck is by our side, if you have a good snowball, I think we can get to grand finals. Maybe even win tournaments. I mean, we did it a year ago. There was very less tier 1 teams present, but I think we will keep growing as a team. And I think we're already close to a level where we can go far.
It is definitely already delivering, especially with the entertainment level of the games being incredibly high. It also means that you've got a lot of extra fans getting over the last few weeks. And obviously you had a lot of fans before that already. Is there anything you want to say to them?
Well, it's awesome, I've experienced a lot of support, for sure. The fans as well make the game great. It's really nice that, that we, it just feels really nice to be on a team that, that causes like a lot of love in the Dota scene. I'm really happy about that.
Well, I'm also happy that I know that I'm going to be able to see Heroic in basically every single tournament until Christmas, so that's great.
Yeah, me too. I'm very happy to be playing tournaments again.
Okay, well, looking forward to see you guys play next. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, it's nice. It's always good fun to get to see Heroic here. And you know what? I gotta say it. Maybe a grain of salt taken away from this because Ali giving them massive compliments. They were making a lot of moves. They were doing things that Falcons were doing about a year and a half ago. And then we look at the run they're doing now, the placements that they're getting, winning tournaments back to back to back. And it's like he sees parts of that old Falcons in Heroic. And so it is just a matter of time before we see them in that grand finals, and a matter of time before we see them potentially lift a trophy as well. And yeah, it seems to be ringing true with Divine and all the team on Heroic.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear that they've improved a lot the last, pretty much this team. I don't think we've ever had a SA team that's been so improving, I would say, the last few months, and it's looking good for the region and for the diversity of Dota teams in general.
It's always nice to get to see a region making it this far. Top 4 for them, it's fantastic. Unfortunately, it was not enough, though, to get into the grand finals for themselves. Tomorrow, it's going to be Tundra up against Falcons. And before we say goodbye, any last words from the three of you before we head into our final day, our Sunday here at Blast Slam 4?
I mean, it's a classic finals, to be honest. These two teams have battled against each other many times. They've played with each other. There are friends. There are rivalries. I think it's a great finals. I look forward to watching it and seeing, great Dota and interesting drafts and watching it unfold. I think a best of 5 is always a fun experience, and I'm just looking forward to it.
Looking forward to see what Tundra will try to do to beat Falcons tomorrow. I think that's really the question. How do you beat this team? I mean, now they have even more information on Falcons. They saw what happened to Heroic today. Let's see if Moon and the gang can do it.
Yeah, we're going to have our grand finals tomorrow. In case you guys want to know what time it is 3 p.m. local time that it'll be starting. So that means we're definitely going to be in for 5 games, right, T?
putting it on me. I don't want to be the one that cursed it. We might get 5 games, we might get 4 games. It could be 3 games stop. You never know. But if you do know, if you turn up and watch it, you'll find out if it's 3, 4, or 5 games. And yeah, I've got nothing to say. So.
All right, well, T's ready to sign out. I know a lot of people here in Singapore are ready to head home as well. We're going to see you guys tomorrow for our grand finals, our last day here at Glassland for the Singapore.
jangan jumawa. Menangin dulu. Jangan jumawa, menangin dulu.
Disiplin guys. Jalan bareng sama squadnya ya Mas.
Yes.
Wawan jangan lupa Wawan vehicle.
Ya, Bang, gua paling butuh satu tukang las ini.
Itu boleh itu nanti. Dari squad lo aja ya Wan ya.
Oke, Bang.
Bisa enggak? Ini soalnya kita mau bantuin hancurin dulu ini.
Oke. Ini milih laki Jalulat nih. Gua pukul.
Boleh silakan.
Gua pukul pala lu anjing. Gua tadi 10 menit cuma ngurusin kontrolnya anjing.
Rombeng mana rombeng? Rombeng.
Kayak Dilan tadi gak?
Oh boneng guys. Boneng ya guys.
Boneng ya. Manjat tank gampang manjatnya. Lo pakai engine aja.
Masuk anjir.
Jadi gua diem aja lu jalan-jalan. Iya, lu dapat poin terus itu.
Ya udah. Gimana? Nanti kalau udah ada ini. Si Jiwan, klik aja.
Semangat guys, semangat. Tank gua ya.
Pusi?
Iya.
Salah itu tulisannya. Enggak ada masuk.
Itu siapa yang vote Wukong ngentot?
Rese anjing. Fokus ya, Pok. Siapa jangan terlalu maju banget. Let's go.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let's go. Menang dulu. Itu Johnnya belakangan. Please. Menang dulu. Yuk, fokus.